Fox News Alert, investigators are swarming Jeffrey Epstein's notorious New Mexico ranch after an email in the Epstein files claims 2 foreign girls were strangled to death during rough fetish sex. And Epstein ordered the bodies to be buried on the ranch. Like a lot of things in the Epstein files, that report is unconfirmed, but authorities are now searching the property, thousands of acres. The ranch has been a dark mystery for years, and people are finally talking. A New Mexico state rep told the Daily Mail this, quote, "We have people coming forward saying they were drugged, had sex organs and sperm harvested from their bodies, and woke up around medical equipment, not knowing where they were or what happened to them."
I'm glad that the New Mexico authorities are going there and searching that property. I know that if no one searches the property, whenever this investigation is finally concluded, people are always going to have questions about whether or not there were deaths there, whether or not there were mysterious surgeries and things like that happening on the ranch. I don't know, but I do know this. The federal government asked New Mexico to stop their investigation, I believe back in 2019, of that ranch. So there's just so many questions about how the government failed.
New fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein files. Hyatt chairman Tom Pritzker is retiring as executive chairman over his ties to the late sex offender. His departure is effective immediately, and he also says he will not seek re-election to the company's board during elections set for this May. In a statement, Pritzker said he, quote, exercised terrible judgment in continuing to associate with both Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
All right, we'll see. Gentlemen, I have to leave it there because we have some breaking news that we just got in. So, William, Bill, thank you so much.
It's a news program. I'm okay.
Again, I appreciate it. All right, we are following, again, breaking news on Capitol Hill, where the House Oversight Committee just voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi. Joining us, MS Now congressional reporter Michael Schnell. This is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, Katie, a massive surprise here. Look, earlier in the day, during a hearing of the House Oversight Committee, Congresswoman Nancy Mace had moved to have a vote on a subpoena for Attorney General Pam Bondi. I'll note this hearing was about an unrelated topic. Well, that vote was delayed until the end of the hearing, and it just happened a few minutes ago, and they voted 24-19 to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi. Something that's so striking about this is it was a bipartisan vote, and it wasn't even close. There were actually 5 Republicans who voted in favor of the subpoena. It was Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, Scott Perry, Tim Burchett, and Michael Cloud. Again, 24-19, which means that in the near future, we could see Attorney General Pam Bondi testify once again.
We have something that we want to talk about that came out from the newly released Jeffrey Epstein files that will probably add more fuel to this discussion, because it turns out one of Epstein's guards allegedly Googled him right before his dead body was found. And there's also what's being characterized as these kind of like weird money transfers days before his death too. There was a forensic examination conducted on the desktop computers that were apparently used by the correctional officers that were supposed to be watching him, Tova Noel and Michael Thomas. They were assigned to Epstein's unit. And there is a 5-page handwritten note of an interview with this inmate who claims that on the morning of August 10th, 2019, he hears officers shouting at 6:30 a.m., so again, that's the reported time when Epstein's body was found, "Breathe, breathe," he recalled officers shouting. And then he allegedly hears an officer say, and this is what you can read from the handwritten note, this is the best way that it's deciphered, "Dudes, you killed that dude." And then he claims that a female guard replied, "If he's dead, we're going to cover it up and he's going to have an alibi. My officers. Miss Noel killed Jeffrey." All right, to be clear, there is no corroborating evidence to back this up. And the DOJ's investigation concluded, quote, none of the inmates who were interviewed had any credible information suggesting Epstein's cause of death was something other than suicide. This is from one of the reports. Timeline analysis of desktop property, user Tova Noel. 8/10/2019. 5:52:29, so again, close to 6 in the morning, user searches Google for, quote, latest on Epstein in jail. This is documentation that Tova Noel seemingly was researching Epstein less than, 40 minutes before her colleague Thomas would end up finding Epstein. Tova Noel was actually interviewed. You said you were on the internet. Are you authorized to use the internet when you're in the SHU? That's the Special Housing Unit. Noel responds, I don't know if I'm authorized to use the internet in the SHU, but I did. I don't know if I'm authorized. All right, and did you conduct internet queries when you were assigned to the SHU on August 10th, 2019? Did you Google things or look things up when you were in there? Noel responds, yeah. Do you remember conducting any internet queries related to Epstein? No, I don't remember doing that. So you don't remember actually conducting queries on Epstein around 4 or 5 a.m.? On August 10th? No? Okay. Does that surprise you for me to ask that question? Noel responds, if I don't remember doing that? I don't know, had you queried him before? Had you looked up Epstein previously? Noel reportedly responds, I don't recall looking him up because he's in there. I just scrolled and there's a crosstalk where the agent seems to say, sure, so you're trying to learn about the inmate that was okay. And then Noel responds at one point, because remember, I was asked, do I know who that was? And I was like, no. And there was he's always in the news. Did you have any part in Epstein's death? No. Prior to Epstein dying, did you have any communications, verbal, electronic, handwritten, or otherwise, with anyone, BOP staff members or otherwise, about the safety and well-being of Epstein?
Girls.
No.
Why did the government not do a better job of investigating and prosecuting Epstein when they had a chance years before they finally convicted him? Was Epstein a spy? Was our government involved in any way, shape, or form in trying to destroy evidence or hide evidence?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, so glad you're here for part 8 of our Epstein Files investigation. If you've been technically counting, you might say 8.5, but we're just going to call it part 8. So glad you're here. You're watching the Gabriel Speaks podcast. If it's your first time here, don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the things. Would very much appreciate it. Definitely helps the algorithm. We're going to be joined by Flak Magnet shortly to continue our deep dive into these recently released Epstein files. And if you were here for the beginning of the show, you saw one of the probably more crazier updates to happen so far is this, that law enforcement is investigating, searching the Zorro Ranch compound. They've searched inside the compound, but they have not searched around the compound, which is strange to me. And another interesting thing here is that federal prosecutors in 2019, that would be under Mr. Bill Barr, William Barr, told local police investigators and FBI to back off the Zorro Ranch investigation. That is crazy. So what we're hearing is that in 2019, an attorney general went in and told investigators to stop looking into Zorro Ranch. Wow. What was going on at Zorro Ranch? There's all kinds of theories. And there's also all kinds of emails, notes. Unfortunately, a lot of those are redacted. So it's hard for us to make sense of them. So we're left to try to piece these things together. In January, last month, the DOJ approved the release of another 47,000 documents. Now here's the problem. We were at 3.5 million documents. Okay. And then this last January, they released 47,000 documents, supposedly. And from what we have heard, there are up to 6 million documents. And the documents that we did receive were heavily redacted, also leaked out victims' names, when they should have been protected for 1,000,001 reasons, 1,000,000,001 reasons. So the whole thing has been a shit show, and we're not even halfway through it. So the 47,000 documents come out, and the biggest one making the most headlines is the Trump rape accusation, where Trump was taken to civil court and told that he needs to be liable for the rape of a young girl. And he settled the case. If you read that report, it's very disturbing. I'm not going to do it here because there's plenty of newscasters. You can go to the justice.gov website. You can go to the Jmail website. You can look it up yourself. It's not something I really wish to repeat or think about again. It's awful to think that our current president is capable of these things. And a little tip, if this is your first time hanging out with us, justice.gov/Epstein. Once you load up that page, and a lot of you probably know this already, but on that page in the search box, you can search no images produced. this is where it gets to be kind of a pain in the ass. But if you open each file where it says no image produced and change the last letters of that file to .mp4, so usually it's .pdf. If you change it to .mp4, you will then be able to view what is in that file. So if you're kind of just getting into investigating this stuff and trying to put your own eyes on it, like a lot of us do, it's so hard to trust the news anymore. So if you want to look at it with no spin and just your own IQ, that's the site you go to. Now, another site I'm really jazzed about, and I probably mentioned it on every episode, is the Jmail site. The Jmail site is amazing. Give you just a quick peek at this. This is the Jmail site, and you can see here, oop, that makes me too big. Here we go. You can see here that it's like a normal email account, right? It's this gmail.world, and you can search for emails. It has the same exact look as Gmail. You can sort emails. You can look at the contacts down here. And then they have these other really helpful apps. Like, what was Jeffrey listening to on Spotify? What was he shopping for? What were some of his social posts? What are the videos that came out with the justice.gov release? And I'll just give you a quick view here. It kind of looks like YouTube, right? And you can come through and watch all these really disturbing videos. So you see, I am a big fan of the site. So they do take donations. There's a little donation checkbox on the top right. And I've definitely made a small donation, what I can afford. And I encourage you to do the same thing if you use it. I mean, it's a lot of work, obviously, that went into it. Okay, Zorro Ranch. So why are they looking for bodies in Zorro Ranch? Well, like I said, you can look up that report of the accusations. Somebody, at some point, somebody said they had kind of their ace in the hole was this evidence that they knew 2 girls had been strangled to death. And I'm not going to edit this for YouTube. This is in the news. So if they want to take me down or call me shocking or whatever for reporting the news, I think that's crazy. It was in this report that Epstein and Maxwell strangled these 2 girls during rough whatever, right? You get the picture. During rough rolling the hay, if you will. They took it a little too far. And they took these poor victims and they got rid of their bodies somewhere on that ranch. So in 2019, investigators started looking into this. We're like, we got to check out that ranch. We got to see what's going on at this ranch. If there's any truth to that story, holy shit. But when you go to investigate something and you get a call that comes from the top that says, back off that case, don't touch that case, for whatever reason, for whatever excuse they gave him, my money is on them telling him, like they told Acosta in Florida, that he's related to intelligence. And so, yeah, we can't touch that. I'm betting once we do some more digging, and this oversight committee you heard is very interested in hearing why these guards deposited $5,000 in cash into their account, was flagged as a suspicious deposit by Chase Bank, which typically only flags $10,000 deposits as suspicious. and was leasing a $62,000 Range Rover on a guard's salary. All a week before Epstein's death. And then 40 minutes before he dies, she's searching Jeffrey Epstein specifically, and then lies under oath to the FBI, which itself is a federal offense. They had the track record of her search queries. She searched Jeffrey Epstein jail updates 40 minutes before Jeffrey Epstein was dead. Just let that sink in. Why? They did not perform their rounds that night because they were too busy shopping online and sleeping, and then lied about it in their logs. And then got out of trouble by making a deal to tell them everything they knew, but they weren't honest about everything they told, which leads me to believe they told them what they wanted to hear, and they got a plea deal. We've got these indiscrepancies with the Epstein video in his cell. All of a sudden, there's an orange flash. We know there's missing time. And we see the Department of Justice actively going in and changing the wording of their investigation so as that doesn't become an issue down the road. It is very, very clear that the Department of Justice and key players in the Department of Justice and the White House have an interest in keeping some of the information of this Epstein case under wraps. What that is, I don't know. We would think it's the Trump stuff, but Trump comes out and says, yeah, release it all. We know there's a bunch of missing emails from Trump. We know the FBI was asked to flag emails regarding Trump and set them aside before the release. Did they withhold them? Do we have more yet to come? Well, considering there's roughly 3 million documents left that we still haven't seen, I'm going to say probably yeah. Now, I jumped to Epstein's science. You may have seen this little graphic earlier because Zorro Ranch is where Epstein saw his kind of science department, if you will. We saw the interview with Steve Bannon where he says, oh yes, Zorro Ranch, it was 40 miles away from the nuclear proving grounds in New Mexico, from the laboratory there, Los Alamos Labs. I knew if I set up a scientific research center there, that I could influence and pick off scientists at work for Los Alamos National Labs. The really disturbing thing is what's coming to light with some of these emails. And folks, I am not exaggerating here. This is what you can find on your own. I highly encourage you to do your own research so you know we're not just blabbing away. Stephen Hawking, Marvin Minsky, I had to make a list, there are so many. Marvin Minsky, Lawrence Krauss, Martin Nowak, and George Church. There are actual files referencing these scientists that appear in the Epstein Maxwell email archive that came out through the Giuffre Maxwell lawsuit. So this has been out for a while. It's just that we're now able to view some of this stuff and kind of put it together in a chronological order. So you can search any one of these names: Hawking, Marvin Minsky, Lawrence Krauss, Martin Nowak, George Church, You can use Gmail like I prefer, or you can go right to the Department of Justice / Epstein website. And if you search those names, look specifically for visitor logs, email correspondence, conference invitations, and scientific meetings. I know you've probably heard Flak and I talk about these meetings that have taken place, these multi-day meetings with these scientists. And this is crazy because these are not scientists who want to build like a biodome or something. If we look at some of the priorities of this group, human genetic engineering, longevity research, population control ideas, and artificial intelligence. Once again, Jeffrey Epstein is Dr. Evil. There are emails and messages where he had wanted to produce up to 20 of his own offspring to seed the human race with his DNA, and that was an actual quote. So you've got all this going on Epstein Island. And we are just now getting to search the ranch. How many volunteers do you think you can get for cutting edge studies in human genetic engineering, longevity research, population control, and artificial intelligence? How many people do you think would voluntarily decide to be a guinea pig on the cutting edge of that research? And what does that take to get somebody in a state of mind that that's what they want to do? We can see this was a grooming program. The age of the girls they chose, the ways and the things they would do to isolate and manipulate these children to where they felt like their only option was to succumb and give in to the pervert. Julian Dory just had a fantastic interview with an actual Epstein victim. And we might check parts of it out a little bit later, but this victim was physically attacked by both Epstein and Maxwell because she wanted off the island. It is absolutely crazy. She was, I think, 15 or 16 at the time. These are children. They might act like they're grown up. They might think they're grown up, but they are not. They are children that make kid mistakes. So they would work at like getting them young and essentially grooming them, brainwashing them for whatever activity they needed, whether it was send them to a potential client's house, or send them to a president's house, or send them to a scientist's house. Whether it was have a baby put inside you in some strange way. We have found in the about 3.5 million documents, we have found at least 2 ultrasound images of 2 separate babies. I have not put them on the show yet because I haven't had an opportunity to remove any identifying data. But once I do that, I'm going to show them to you. We actually have 2 ultrasounds, 2 separate babies, and a bunch of redacted information around whatever this very in-depth conversation was about. And, you know, I didn't share my, like Flak said last time, it's a very personal, intimate thing. I didn't share my ultrasound picture of either of my kids with very many people. It's a very personal thing. And so you think about, why would not 1 but 2 of these show up in Jeffrey Epstein's email? Were they successful in some of this genetic engineering where they wanted to, and again, I'm going to pull up the exact quote, seed the human race with Jeffrey Epstein's DNA? Multiple scientists confirmed Epstein talked about a plan to impregnate up to 20 women at his New Mexico ranch. What do you think would happen to one of those women if they said no? Is that why we have this ranch being scoured right now? And this is over a 60-acre ranch. It's a lot of places to hide something. And it's been a long time, because in 2019, we find out they were told to back off by Bill Barr. So that was another 6-7 years wasted, more decay, more opportunities for moving things. I mean, the entire investigation was obfuscated at every opportunity. So like I said, and I'm going to keep saying the names: Stephen Hawking, Marvin Minsky, Lawrence Krauss, Martin Nowak, and George Church. Until these, well, obviously Hawking's can't come forward, but until these that are capable can come forward and explain themselves, I would have nothing to do with them. Call me crazy. But there's a lot of up-and-coming young scientists that you won't find in the Epstein files. And maybe it's time to give them a chance. Maybe it's time to get rid of this good old boy network that can so easily be manipulated and corrupted. And even if they had no idea and were just victims in this entire thing, then how fucking stupid are you? You're a professor at a university and you can't take 10 minutes and Google search the guy you're asking $10 million? You don't care about who you do business with? Isn't that like part of ethics and doing responsible research? I don't know. I wasn't a scientist, so I couldn't tell you. But those are the things that come to my mind when I think about science and investigation. I think integrity. I think a dedication and a commitment to the process. But these scientists today have to worry so much about the funding, it then becomes a part of the research. And it taints the entire thing. If you have people that are donating money to your research, large sums of money to your research, but telling you how they would like the research done or what kinds of results they would like to see from the research, that is messing with the research. It should take you where it takes you. Longevity research is something that we've heard about all these cats being mixed up in. Peter Thiel. I mean, I think every rich tech person that's out there in the public eye, we have heard about them being interested in human genetic engineering and longevity research. I don't know if you ever saw that show on Amazon, Upload. Y'all remember that one where like you didn't die, you could like be uploaded to a server where your consciousness would continue to live. But you had to have somebody living that was willing to pay your fees so you could live a good life in the afterlife. And if they skipped that month, you'd be stuck in like a 2 gigabyte room and you could barely move for hours on end. Really interesting take on things. But I think that humans were made to die. I think that's a part of our evolutionary process. I'm all for medicine and prolonging our life so we can enjoy our children and our children's children. You know, as long as you can do it and not be a burden, I'm all for it. But at some point, you have to go. There's only so much room on this earth. There's only so much space on those servers. Let it go, man. You're rich. You accomplished a lot. Congratulations. You're going to die like the rest of us. And you have to lay there on that deathbed just like the rest of us and answer for what you've done. You won't be laying there thinking about the yachts and the girls. I promise. You'll be laying there thinking about, what did I do with my opportunity? Did I help, or did I just succumb and become greedy and nasty like the rest of them? That's your end. It's not mine. And you can try to put that off as long as you want. But it's coming. It's coming for all of us. I personally think the longevity research, the population control, and the artificial intelligence are all kind of lumped together. Because I think they're using artificial intelligence to give them ideas for population control, some kind of backdoored, non-monitored artificial intelligence that only rich people could afford. And I think they're investigating how to get rid of massive amounts of people without it being obvious. Isn't that amazing how I can just say that? Like, the data points to that rich people were trying to murder us. That is the headline. And in fact, on Zorro Ranch, rich people may have already murdered some of us. Some of us below 10 million a year losers. Peons. They cared so little, y'all. Vats of sulfuric acid. They were able to order it by the drum. And I don't want to even get started on the strange Wayfair emails. What the fuck? Who has that much interaction with Wayfair? And I've heard the rumors. I don't have anything that can prove it out yet. Now, the DOJ, like I said, they did a new drop. And this is some of the stuff from the new drop. I'll see if I can make this any bigger for us. Okay, so these are the old releases. What you do is you just click this guy here. You go to, and you can also search by the volume. Go to new releases here, and you can see I've gone through quite a bit of them. And I'll give you another tip as you're going through here. Any one of these is the amount of votes they have received to request congressional investigation to get redacted. And some of it has worked. We just watched last week a senator enter into the House floor. I'm sorry, not a senator, a representative enter into the House floor. A redacted email we were only able to get by them going to the special setup for the House of Representatives and the people investigating the case. And what you hear from all these people is when they get there, a lot of the stuff that was redacted with the normal release is double redacted and redacted for them when it's not supposed to be. This is manipulation at the highest levels of the justice system. It's what this is. Okay, so these are some of the newer emails. And if we just look at some of the more popular ones that are getting requests. Hello, Clive. Could you please come to see Jeffrey tomorrow, Wednesday, June 5th at 12:30 p.m. at Jeffrey's office, which is at 6100 Red Hook Quarters, Suite B3. Please let me know. And this is the frustrating part, is they redact so much of this. They redact like who it's from. Let's see. Thanks, darling. This is from Randall Skirbo to We Don't Know. Thanks, darling. That was a dreadful show. When are you coming by way? Were you here without calling bad girl? Happy Thanksgiving. R. I mean, and this is what we have to dig through. We've got, come down here just in the new emails, pages and pages and pages. And what's crazy is you can even find stuff in the promotion section. So this is like when your email provider filters out like promotional shit from non-promotional shit. Yeah, he's still getting personal shit in the filter. Hi, haven't heard from you. Are you here? Amanda. This was from Amazon.com, redacts the email address to Maxwell, but redacts her email address even though we've seen it 100 times. This one says it's an example, but look at it. I mean, it's clearly more to it than this. Yes, all. And Sultan will meet with us in Dakar. Sorry for all the typos. The Sultan will meet with you? Okay. What do you meet with the Sultan with there for, Jeffrey? So let's check it out. Let's see what happens when we search Zorro. Wow, we got ranch managers, guest ranch, Zorro development update. As requested, a breakdown of the major items we all discussed. Reference the employment of another person instead of a landscaping company. Bryce would like to have a chat with you about this. He has a number of ideas that may solve a few problems. Safe travels. Warmest regards, Zorro Development Corp. So they started a whole new corporation. Zorro Development Corp. Interesting. You know, I rich people start corporations and LLCs, I think you know why. You're a smart group. You know why corporations get started and why LLCs get started. Let me see if I can widen this up for y'all a bit. Okay. So here's some directions. We've got a staffing email. Limited power of attorney. So Zorro Ranch to Zorro.office. Interesting. A3 limited power of attorney forms that we require to be sent out today. Please review, especially concerned about Jeffrey Epstein's title for Zorro Development and Ranch. Please advise ASAP. So they're going, hey, before we file this, are you sure we want Jeffrey Epstein to be the main guy? Just making sure. Oh, look at that. We are joined, ladies and gentlemen, by Mr. Flak Magnet. Mr. Flak Magnet, how are you, sir? Do we have audio?
Hello. Good evening.
There he is. There he is.
Oh,
How
so
are you, buddy?
rushing to set everything up on like the back end. I'm so sorry, dude. Oh man,
Relax.
I suggest this. No one nap after the age of 40 because them things turn into a sleep real easy.
Oh yeah.
You can't control them. They just come in and then they never want to leave.
It's not a good scene. It's not a good scene. Yeah, you take those naps over 40 and poof. So we were just going through, if you missed it so far, the kind of new breaking news is they are searching the 60 acres around Zorro Ranch. And more crazy than that is what came to light is that in 2019, Bill Barr ordered local police and FBI to back off the Zorro Ranch investigation.
Like, it's real weird to me whenever a quote unquote money investigation can turn into something real, like I don't know, a murder investigation in my eyes, because I don't know, people are worth more than money. And maybe not to these folks that we're talking about now, but people should be worth more than money. So the fact that there's
they're looking for bodies.
That's what I'm saying. Like the fact that they, because what did we talk about? I think it was like when we first started covering this. Like you got to get it in your head that every other serial predator like this would rather get rid of the evidence, meaning get rid of the child, get rid of the person that they're trafficking, them face any kind of jail time. The first time that he got caught, just like all the other serial killers out there who noticed the same thing, like, oh, if I just get rid of the witness testimony and like all the evidence, then I don't have to deal with the problems later on. If you're a super smart, like they say he is, billionaire with way more to lose than your average Joe Schmo serial killer who has no money and just enjoys killing, and that's why he wants to keep his own ass out of jail, I think that this guy with way more reasons to keep his own ass out of jail would go to greater lengths, as we can tell, you know, with like the amount of money and power and influence, like to immediately ignore any kind of, I don't know, inquiry into search for bodies or stepping up to a murder charge. That's like the golden goose right there. If you can prove that, you don't have to worry about any of the money stuff. Because then while they're in jail for the next 10 years, you can prove out your money stuff. You know, maybe it's statute of limitations, but murder trumps money. That's why there's no statute of limitations on murder.
This was, I mean, to me, this is clearly, very clearly, the Department of Justice stepping in when they don't need to delay and sidetrack this investigation. And it didn't seem like it mattered who was president, whether it was Trump or whether it was the other old guy, Biden. They didn't care. The DOJ was fucking up this investigation on purpose.
Yeah, and right from the outset, even like not even, but from the sweetheart deal onward, they've been screwing over the victims. They've been giving more discovery to the other side than the victim side, which is insane. That the government would choose priority to the predator billionaire. You know, like I just don't understand it. Like we're supposed to work within a greedy system where all this greed funds and moves everything, right? But then when it's time to like, okay, government, now be greedy against the billionaires. They're like, no, we got to be nice. We don't want to offend any. God forbid somebody be embarrassed, even though they're a perpetrator. God forbid they be embarrassed for being associated on a list with Epstein. So we shall never release any list or any perpetrators. I don't know. The whole thing reeks of them trying to fuck everyone else over except the predator class.
I mean, it's clear that's what they were doing, and we started talking a little bit about Epstein science and the things that he was into, and he kind of had like a big four when it came to science, and it was, I jotted it down here. So he seemed to be the most interested in human genetic engineering, longevity research, population control ideas, and artificial intelligence. So when he would have these get-togethers with these scientists, a lot of times those are the things they would be discussing.
Yeah, that's weird. Like, so I've been trying to stay in my lane, my respective lane on this, and anytime I hear like just because we've been on our own journey, we've been trying to solve our own bits of this case, right? So I've been trying to ignore the other things that totally pique my interest, where I'm trying to like run down certain paths, but like these are all paths that are well investigated, that people are bringing out actionable material on anyway. So I'm like trying to ignore that stuff. But it's weird, dude, because that doesn't even encompass the baby making shit. That doesn't encompass the 0 point energy. You know, like we're just saying weird science-esque things like Epstein science, right? And we're leaving that as a big blanket statement because there is so much fucking science to weird shit going on with this guy, man.
Yeah. Well, there's just been a lot of weird shit. And then the Clinton depositions just really brought up more weird shit. You know, all of a sudden we were teleported back to the Mark Middleton case where we're supposed to believe the guy killed himself by hanging himself with a electric cord and then shooting himself with a shotgun. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, was that guy even turning state's witness or anything like that?
I
You know,
have
like
no idea.
nothing came out about him being a whistleblower or anything. Like Seth Rich, there was like shit going on in the background about like, hey, maybe he's the WikiLeaks guy, right? So he was erased in very sketchy circumstances, but something happened to him, and there was word on the street out there. A lot of the people that are dying with this on the like law side for the Epstein cabal, they've lost a couple of people too, which is some really weird quote unquote suicide or unaliving type things, right?
See what the
Like that's
fuck?
fucking strange.
What's going on, Flak?
This
Because
is
my theory is that this was all a part of the crazy science they were trying to do, the eating of people that they were doing. I think it's all connected, man. I know I sound like a crazy person.
Yeah. You sound crazy, but you also sound so crazy it just might work. I think that's what the fuck is going on, dude. Like you can't look at all this and go, nah, it's all coincidence. You know, that's what everyone else is trying to do. They've been trying to do it for like 5 years now with this whole, nah, it's a coincidence. They just so happen to all be friends and going to the same parties and using the same code words. It's a coincidence.
Right. There just so happens to be girls missing. Our bad. And now, you know, Barr told him to back off Zorro Ranch in 2019. You know, that was 7 years ago. Like, that's a long time to go in there and clean up a mess, right?
Well, yeah, big time, especially since the Don Huffines, the guy, is the one who owns it now, and he is supposedly like a golden boy within the Republican Party now, right? To where he didn't want to let them investigate. He was doing everything he could. So he told law enforcement, he was like, "Oh, you don't need to investigate. I'm covering the whole area. It's going to be a religious retreat." So he painted it in religion. It was going to be a religious retreat. What psychopath? Like, unless it's an exorcist religious retreat, right? Unless you are training to expel demons from this earth, what the hell religious experience are you looking at on Epstein's? Not the island, which is creepy, but we're talking about the most occulted, oldest estate that he owns, with probably a series of underground infrastructure. Way bigger, way easier. This is what I think of too. Like, that's all practice. Everything that he's been doing there is practice for everywhere else. He's got no oversight. He's got nothing to worry about over there. So any kind of tunnel building, he'd be able to do the same on Epstein Island, but it would be easier there because he has access roads. He's in the United States. I found out that the microwave communication stuff all started on Zorro, and he used that as a test bed for those things, and then he brought it to everywhere else. So he brought it to his French apartment, he brought it to the island, he brought it to his Manhattan apartment, and this is microwave communication, fully encrypted lines worldwide. So he would have his own satellites rented.
Yeah, he had a little dish with him or something.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find the dish. I found what looks like the it's funny because it looks like it in every town. You'll have like a small, it's like a tweeter or a repeater for the big ass towers, but it's small enough that it's usually maybe like a 10 by 10 little gated off chain linked fence space with what looks like a couple of little microwave, a couple of little radio dishes, and a couple of little antennas with some electrical boxes. Now he has one of those, but then he also has these small little things all over the island too, which I'm not sure, but it could be like motion activated sensors, like a motion activated sensor array, or I don't know. My crazy conspiracy brain wants to say mini DEWs.
I mean, we've heard stories of girls being trapped, and witnesses saying security is walking along the island, but it looks more like they're looking to keep people in than to keep people out. So we've heard those stories. Maybe you had a shock in there while you're trying to run away. Maybe you'll stop. Who knows?
Like, I've heard some of the wilder ones that were on 4chan and things before the great 2020 wipe of the internet that removed half the stuff, along with like a lot of things on YouTube, but really bad. And now if we just ignore those and we just go on the fact that like the normal girls who were doing helping with trafficking and stuff, they also complained about being trapped on that island. And it wasn't like, hey, you better let me off of here. It's, I'm fucking tired of being here. There's no one else here except staff who I am like half, because they were young girls. They were like 20 to 25 that were his assistant staff, right? So the staff, also, the staff did not like these girls. They made it known to them. So the girls would complain to Epstein all the time. Like, I don't want to fucking be here. Like I'm tired of spending time with the fucking house manager. Like me and the other girls are not happy about this. We feel trapped and blah, blah, blah. So.
Well, I just, to me, buddy, like what we've uncovered so far with all this and some of the breakthroughs that are coming, like one of the guards is going to have to testify in front of the oversight committee. Pam Bondi is going to have to testify in front of the oversight committee again. That should be fun.
I want to know what prosecutorial powers they have, because what does this mean now that I'm seeing like everyone's starting to be like, oh yeah, dude, I'll totally testify. Sure, subpoena me up, big daddy government. I'll come in. Just like with Hillary, like when I think it wasn't until she realized like, oh no, this is gonna be softball. This is gonna be easy. Like Pam Bondi already got.
You're under oath, so you could get in trouble for perjury, basically.
They have to prosecute that though, like Amber Heard.
But like that's why Jose Canseco went up and was like the fifth.
True.
They're like, we just want to know if you're taking steroids, dude. We're not going to arrest you.
Or Jose
like
Canseco. Can I just say that, listen, if Lance Armstrong can lose both of his nuts from over steroids, then this man, Jose Canseco, can knock a couple of homers out. You know what I mean?
Hey, you know, I think there was this group of guys going around trying to do the performance enhancing Olympics. I think they were on Joe Rogan once. Did you hear about this?
That to me is like the best type of Olympics. I haven't heard of it, but that's to me is the best type of Olympics because everyone is doing the same shit. You know, like if you can completely prevent doping and stuff, perfect. Yeah. But if you can't prevent any cheating, because I've just started watching the cheating that happens with like 24-hour bicycle races. Right, where now we've hit the point where they can have hubless motors. Dude, they're fucking with motors now. You know, I didn't think that was like somebody got caught in I think it was like the 80s with it. But it's because the 80s and he's using a fucking motor that he hid inside of his bike frame. I believe a piece of the frame cracked or something. Yeah, no feet. He lifts his feet up and the pedals are just fucking cooking. But now they do it with hubless motors, so your fucking pedals don't move. Or I should say a hub motor, so your pedals don't move. And oh man, it was this really cool thing underneath the wrap where like you had to turn it a certain amount and then also hit a brake at a certain pressure in order for it to get it to go. So it's kind of like how the cartels would hide secret compartments in their vehicles, right? Like you have to have there's a short within the electrical system, and if you can complete that circuit, it'll open whatever thing up that's along that circuit. So all you have to do is just figure out the configurations that the right amount of amperage goes through, and fucking you have a motor now that the judges can't find. But I mean, with things like that, if you can find a way to either make it all cheating legal, it's the smarter the better at this point, or absolutely no cheating. But then I'd be with the no cheating.
I would too, but it's impossible, right? I mean, as soon as we figure out a way to test for it, they're 3 steps ahead. Like that's how it works.
Well, all right. So if you look at how the mob took a look at things in like the 60s, the mob and the mafia, I'm not discriminating.
Are you calling me a mobster?
No. What I'm pointing out is that you're naive and you're one of the sucker class like I am. Okay, we're the suckers. All right.
Right. We are the suckers. Yes, we have good intentions.
They figure out whatever racket
screwed right out of the gate.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's you know what it is. It's because we have fucking morals is usually the problem. You know, if you can get rid of those pesky morals, the sky is the limit with cheating. You can accomplish.
Right, if you have no conscience, it's amazing what you can do.
Dude, Jiminy Cricket has been ruining people's lives for centuries.
Wow, my whole life. But so yes, I'm all about it. I'm for let's have the Olympics with all the drugs. Let them do whatever they need to finish that 3-second 40. I want to see it.
Because then it comes to preferences, right? Like,
right? Who makes the best drugs? America or China?
I was going to say that, but I was going to say the testing goes down to preferences too, right? Like, because they're supposed to be testing for this shit. But I don't think it's until like somebody rats you out, they don't even think of testing you. And let's say you paid off a certain amount of officials, because I don't know, is the Olympics not like every other pageant or any other activity that we've seen judged by other people? They're susceptible to bribery.
Yes, there's that, and then you had psychotics like Lance Armstrong that would literally put urine in his ball sack. I mean, that's next level.
Fucking psychopath behavior, but genius.
Right?
Genius.
That's next level.
That reminds me, there was this I think it was like an OBGYN a doctor who got caught doing terrible things to his patients, right? But he got away with it for like 15 years. But this is because he was a doctor, and he was like, "Oh, if I fill I think it was like a piece of rubber with fake blood, like not my blood, somebody else's blood. Then every time I get pulled into court and they try to take blood from me, they're going to get somebody else's blood, right?" And it worked for like 2 or 3 years. This had worked, right? I think he stayed out of jail for like 15, 20 years, but it worked for an additional 2 or 3 because he was getting reported all the time. And then they were doing this, and on like the 3rd time they went to go take his blood, they had reached the limit of blood that was in there, and it had coagulated and stuff. So they went for another vein, and they found his real blood, and like, holy shit. They didn't know what the fuck they just did, because they were like, on record, people like because there would be a court custodian in the room while he's getting his blood drawn to make it, because it's a legal thing. So they're like, we saw the blood get taken. How did it not match? How did it not match? How did it not match? And then all of a sudden, boom, it matches. So that was just one guy, and he wasn't that bright, you know, not bright enough to where he put 10 of them in, you know, he wasn't that bright, but he got away with it for a certain amount of time. Same thing with these rich people and the rituals and stuff. Don't put it past anybody else, their ability to lie, cheat, and steal to get what the hell they want, you know, or the ambition that they have behind it, you know.
Absolutely. I used to tell, once I was in the service for a while, there's this saying that recruiters lie, cheat, and steal to get people to join. And that is accurate. Recruiters lie, cheat, and steal to get people to join.
Oh, dude, I was 17.
100%.
I was 17. I walked into 17. Walked into a recruiter's office, and he straight up told me, he was like, "Hey man, do you like X-Men?" I was like, "Yeah, fucking X-Men's pretty cool." He goes, "What do you think of that Xavier guy? You like his school?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, that school is fucking sweet. They got swimming pools up the wazoo. They got jet planes in the basketball court. I know what goes on."
It's like, bro, and every room has a hot tub.
Dude, he's like, "It's real, bud." He's like, "You want to join the X-Men, kids? We got them. We got them. We got the fucking Cyclopses. We got the Wolverines. We got the Badger Man." I'm like, "Badger Man's not a real thing." He goes, "Don't worry about it. You'll see him." So I joined, and I'm stuck now on underground base. There's no X-Men. There's just old men with beards guarding dials. Guarding the dials. They had me guarding the dials for 10 years.
You must have pissed someone off.
Yeah, apparently I also didn't walk into it was a dry cleaner, so I accidentally walked into. I got myself in a whole different situation. But he had a military outfit on, folks, and that's gotta watch out for these things.
You do gotta watch out. You do gotta watch
I want to say
okay.
Allegedly.
You do gotta watch out. Okay, so what are your takes on these fields of study here? I mean, when you see these kind of 4 major areas of study that did come up at every single retreat he had.
I'm going to send you something right now. Finish this off.
On that?
But before you even ask my answer, when you ask yourself that exact question, when you look at the paper that I'm going to send you right now.
Okay, let's have it. Are you sending it through X?
X is a bit of a butthole with the amount of data that it lets me send through. Like it was, or actually, I think I was texting the photos from earlier, and that was still giving me a bit of a hard time with data. So I'm just gonna see if it goes better through text.
Is this the one that's like a message, like an email about the potential private island?
No. This is so we're just on my everyday journeys of looking into everyday disclosures, you know, not weird stuff, totally normal people things. I came across a ton of different papers, right?
Okay.
There was a sticking point in my side that every couple of years a new paper in psychotronics comes out, and this is within our military, and it's a new author. Psychotronics, psi warfare, things like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Havana syndrome.
Yeah, but ones that are this doesn't even get into Havana syndrome or directed energy weapons. This is all like mind warfare, right? And then tying that in with remote viewing and stuff.
What's his name? John. Who is the colonel? John.
I was thinking more Michael Aquino. Oh, McGonagall. Yeah,
McGonagall.
But Joe McGonagall is a bit of a. I like Joe. I don't get any.
Is it Joe or John?
Children. I thought it was Joe McGonagall.
No,
it might be John
I think
McGonagall.
It's John. I think you're wrong. You are incorrect.
Incorrect, sir. I'm pointing at me and laughing now. I like him. he doesn't seem like he's got like an evil tinge to him. Like I get a
McGonagall?
different feeling. Yeah, I get a different feeling from him than I do Hal Puthoff.
He's
oddly enough.
Lou Elizondo's mentor.
Yeah, but man, we've all seen the karate movies where the kid, like, he sweeps the leg a little too high. You know what I mean? And that was his choice. You know, if Lou Elizondo's
That's right.
sweeping the kneecap.
He did make a conscious choice. Okay, so
Yep.
I loaded this picture up that you sent me because
This is different, though. I'm going to send you something different.
Captioned
But
this.
we'll go
Hold
with it.
on. I'm gonna go over this because you captioned this earlier and you said, "Are we going to talk about this Disney connection?" And here's Winnie the Pooh with Jeffrey Epstein, and it looks like other members of the family, or maybe someone else's family.
The two guys in yellow, they're the same guy, but in the I had to put all three because I would have just done a post for each one and just discussed it. But I was absolutely flabbergasted that the government would redact, like, and this is their one piece of evidence. So each photograph isn't logged separate times. It's just one EFTA number. We'll pull these three up. But why are you redacting clearly someone who looks like they're there to hurt a child? And if you look at the third picture with the piglet, if you zoom into the guy with the redacted face who's not redacted in the top picture, look at the death grip that he has on, like what looks like a toddler in his arms.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable.
Oh yeah,
He does
but this
seem
is
to have quite a grip.
This is Disney's private club, right? I don't think it's the 33 club, but this is one of the ones you have to be a special super VIP to even get in. And he's there with children. That's a man and Jeffrey with children around the table with them, right? Like,
I mean, what's happening here? Is there any kind of explanation for what this is?
Nope, none at all. This is all that I got.
Random file. Everything else is redacted. Okay. Yeah.
See,
this is
like,
what pisses me off is when they do this.
What I'd like to do,
because we have
like,
we have nothing.
Well, yeah, like so I'd like to. These are people well outside my well of influence and friendships, but I would love to grab fucking Ian Carroll and see what he can do about, because he has that web app that's pretty damn good, that's already has like an AI backbone to it, to where, like, to catalog all the available text documents that have the EFTA numbers in the evidence list and start corresponding them to the pictures. Because I don't know if anyone else has run into this problem. Oh, go ahead,
bud. I'm sorry.
I don't know anyone who else has run into this problem, but you'll get emails, right? And it'll say, hey, we're doing so-and-so. Hey, this is the girl. Hey, so-and-so, blah, 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 right? We'll get that, and then we'll get no picture. We'll just get a evidence log number, right? And it,
or like
and it is
there was an
also
attachment, but there's no attachment.
Yep,
like the note of an attachment, but nothing there.
Where that's them dissecting it. That's them taking all of the visual data out of the emails. Where some emails, they still have it, though. You know, you'll still get a picture from time to time, but none of them correspond to EFTA numbers, right? So it would take quite a bit of work to then place all these photos back into the emails where they belong.
So it's hard
that's what
to
I
have
would
a theory about this, other than it's fucking weird.
If you're new, it's real hard. But if you've been studying this for a long time, like, there are certain things that stick out. There are names that have been thrown around since the beginning.
So,
and Indike is one of those names.
Disneyland seems like it would be kind of the equivalent of a stocked pond. You know, plus, like, it's probably where most of his dates want to go. So, kind of a twofer?
Well, then, and I don't know if you know this, but the security staff had actually gotten caught trafficking children through the tunnels and stuff in Disney, right? They found out their code and everything, where it would be the same princess code that Epstein was working off of. Remember the princess emails where I like Snow White this time, next time Beauty and the Beast, blah, blah, blah. Apparently color coding dresses, color coding the men handing the children off to each other, and security being involved. And I believe it was like NBC News, one of the huge news agencies in like 2016 covered this, that it had been going on since at least 2003. And it involved many high-ranking members of the security staff, right? Because those would have been the ones watching the cameras and all that stuff. And this is my whole thing. Is like, even as a layman, seeing something weird happen over and over again, I don't even know how to equate this to like normal everyday life, but you know it. In your job that you work every day, if you see an anomaly that just continues to happen, like with World Trade Center, we saw the anomaly meaning that they fell right into their own footprint. If it's a first off, and it always happens after that, then it's calculated, in my opinion, right? So I try to look for those bits where it's like, oh, no, that's just smoke, there's no fire, and now that we've got this, we're looking up all the fucking smoke that has been poking out of these files for these years.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah, I know for me personally, a big part of it has been all of the connections to these scientists, the correlation between when they see each other and the uptick in quote unquote jerky orders, the things that they were studying, in particular population control and longevity research. And I was saying to the folks earlier, death is a natural part of life. And at the end of the day, it's something we're all going to have to face. And I think the problem with these guys is they're scared for their souls. So they want to live as long as possible. And I think that's why longevity research is such a big deal to people like Peter Thiel and the rest of the bunch.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree. It's also not that hard to maintain a soul. Sure, we've got a certain set amount of years on this planet. Like, just try not to fuck anybody else into an early grave.
Just be a good person.
Yeah, it's not that hard,
to
dude.
just try
It's
and
so
be
much
a good person.
easier to be a good person than it is to be an asshole. And I know that because, like, I'll get annoyed. I'll get my version of not menopause. I'm not that old. Jesus Christ. But PMS. As a man, yeah, I get my little jaunts of PMS, and you know how hard it is to work a fucking frown and be a dick to people I genuinely like. It's a lot more work than it takes to be nice.
Right. Okay. I sat through 9 hours of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton depositions. I listened to Hillary Clinton say over and over and over and over she never met Maxwell or Epstein. I just want y'all to know, this is just one picture. And though she's hiding, she's definitely there. So, I'm so sick of these people lying about everything. So I'm sorry. I just wanted to share that again because she's a fucking liar. Now, these pictures you sent me, are we back in the tunnels? It looks like it. Looks like a couple of ATVs.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes, those are the tunnels. But now, so there's another one where you can kind of see daylight.
Yes, that was the first one, right?
There you go. Boom. Look how long that corridor is.
Right.
Right. That's a real long, and we're only now just starting to touch a curve that's happening. Because I don't think I sent these to you in order. Yeah, this is not. And look at the size of the vehicles that are there. I'm pretty sure that's a fucking boat in the background.
Yeah, that's the escape boat.
Yeah, and then you just keep going further and further and further and further and further until you reach a little metal door, and then you get another couple of corridors, and it keeps going further and further. I'm just trying to now type the loose ends with the tunnel stuff because I'm fully satisfied in my research. Now I'm waiting for people to complain enough, so I got to do more work. But.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a doubt in my mind about the tunnels. The only question about the tunnels for me is, what were y'all doing? How big was this operation? How twisted was this operation? It was probably more than one illegal thing that we're dealing with, right? Like we're talking about, this could be drugs and girls. We're finding out about some legal loophole they found through European girls. Some of these lawyers did. So it's just getting nuts, man. The lengths that these men will go to to get with kids.
Now, we're going to ignore the kid's statement, and I'm just going to say, look at this whole thing like a situation with an ex-girlfriend, right? Like, you love this woman. You were with her for 10 years, okay? It could be an ex-wife at this point, but like you find evidence of cheating, right? You know that the cheating happened. It's enough to end the relationship. But now, just like every normal human being out there, you're going to sit there and go, what the fuck did I do wrong this whole time? Like, what did I do wrong? Drove her into the arms of somebody else. What could there have been extraneously causing her to want to leave and do all this? But that's all work you don't need to do. Just like trying to figure out what they were doing with the tunnels and things. Like, I'm going to actually leave that little bit to law enforcement, just because I can't fathom what they could possibly be doing with any of those things. Like, I've gotten along far enough with putting myself in those shoes. Like, okay, if I was a super evil mastermind criminal, what the hell would I need communications for? That's easy enough. Now, just on the face of it, the tunnels, I think, are normal things, but like, clearly they have other reasons for all of this shit. They're career criminals for 30 plus years. Like me just using standard police tactics to try and figure this shit out, just working through some of the investigation. I don't think it's going to work on this one. You know, especially with those fucking tunnels, man. Because,
obviously not. When you have police throwing wrenches in it, it makes it tough, right? So this is the file you sent me. Approved for release in 01, CIA file. U.S. Air Force declassification and release instructions on file. Air War College, Air University, Psychic Warfare by Dolan McKelvey, Lieutenant Colonel. Research report submitted to the faculty and fulfillment of the research requirements, so on and so forth. Ooh, Maxwell Air Force Base, Alabama.
Maxwell, that sounds familiar.
Huh.
I also know that Michael Aquino wrote a paper like this that is not this paper and doesn't deal with any of this work. So he was on a whole different Psy-War angle than this paper.
Well, this is Air Force. This is Air Force.
Oh, yeah. Now, this also is, like, what I like about this paper, and this is why I sent this specific one over to you, it talks about, like, the hurdles that you're going to have to get through finding people to even be in this. You don't want religious types because you want a clean slate. So you don't want people attributing this to angels or psychic abilities to do with like a divine intervention and stuff like that. You want to wipe that slate clean. So they don't want religious folks.
Sure.
They do not want
skeptics. You got to be an empty vessel.
Yep, but clean slate, because they don't want you to have any preconceived notions of this either. So they just want somebody who goes, I never really thought about it, and then they're like, you are perfect for the fold. So they go through like all the hurdles that you got to tackle in order to even start research like this. But the craziest part is like they've clearly been doing it since the 60s, and they're talking about it like it's a brand new thing in the I think it was like 80 something. This one it should have like a when it was written and then a declassification. 2004 I think it was declassified.
88 declassified in 01.
Oh, 01.
April 01. Yeah. Military does their dates backwards. They go year first, then month, then day.
Okay.
So April 2nd, 2001.
It's not too far from 9/11 that this was released before.
It's not. This research report represents the views of the author and does not necessarily. Okay, so this is just the disclaimer. Air War College Research Report, abstract title, Psychic Warfare, Exploring the Mind Frontier. Dolan McKelvey. You ever seen him on a podcast?
No.
Man's greatest potential remains a prisoner of man. Vast, untapped mental capabilities create an entirely new battlefield dimension which, if ignored, pose a threat to self and country more serious than nuclear weapons. Whoa. This threat starts from within. Our fears, our cynical attitudes towards psychic capabilities make us our own worst enemies. The Soviets, on the other hand, take psychic research very seriously at all levels, particularly for its military application. Exploring the mind frontier is essential, and the key to successful exploration is a greater psychic awareness.
You know, he gagged a little bit when having to say that about the Soviets, because that's been this is like the oldest trick in the book to get research done, is by like saying, "Oh, the Soviets are doing it," because we had heard that by MJ-12 standards. 15 years before this.
It's just like the UAP people saying it's a threat to our pilots, right? It's an airspace threat, so they know there's like key words that'll get the government involved.
So is a fucking rogue seagull in a turbine engine. Am I right, folks?
Yep, it happens. It does happen.
That's why we got to classify the seagulls. You can't tell nobody about the seagulls.
Exploring the mind frontier, Flak? What is this guy talking about?
Oh, this is called astral projection and shit. So this is not this super dirty stuff. Like Michael Aquino, his one gets into the more like manipulation because he worked in Vietnam. That era of psychic warfare was keen towards that war. You know, so I don't know if he was actually in Vietnam, but he was. Yeah, he was on the outskirts, and he was working on it well after Vietnam with whatever. Intelligence apparatus was formed for Vietnam. So this one is well after Vietnam would have ended. So I don't know where they were going with this research, like what tinge they had, but it was something to do with the Cold War. You know, that's the angle they wanted it.
Well, and I gotta say, I mean, sometimes I think we give Russia more credit than they deserve. It. Look, there are brave people that killed a lot of Nazis. Not saying that isn't true. They were one of the only ones that defeated Napoleon, right? And kind of just let him defeat himself. So militarily, great minds. But as we see
I think
what's happening in Ukraine, like they can't even topple Ukraine.
But I see. Yeah. All right, we're getting into the same icky territory that.
Sure.
For World War II, because the Germans were pitched up to be a bulwark against the Bolsheviks, which, I guess they were a problem in the territory at the time, but like Germany fucked around and found out with them. Like it was all Germany's fucking around and like just keep pushing things, right? But that's what I'm seeing with Israel, and that's what I'm seeing with Ukraine, is like a U.S.-backed war. Where a way smaller, weaker country is leveraging our weapons and our influence and our intelligence in order to get things done overseas, where it didn't work then. Like Germany got their ass fucking handed to them by the end of that war. Like there was not a safe place other than Argentina, Brazil, like certain places. They all had to run. You know, and the ones that didn't run either were murdered or were brought into our own intelligence apparatus. You get the same thing with Ukraine, right? Like Ukraine would have been squashed if it would have been up to their intelligence, up to their military capabilities. But because we've been feeding them soldiers, we've been feeding them
clearly
weapons and all that stuff. Same thing's happening, and now same thing with Israel. Israel can't fight a 7-front war on its own without being given weapon after weapon after weapon after weapon, and then after giving intelligence after intelligence. So whether we're doing that on our own volition, or maybe they have something on us that would make us want to help them. But like the same thing was going on with them in Germany, and even within because like I'm not a fan of Russia. Russia's corrupt. Russia has had more than one totalitarian type dictatorship where it's one man in charge. The country has control of all manufacturing and all those rights. Like you as the manufacturer, if they tell you you're working the next 10 years for free, you're working the next 10 years for free. If you're a scientist, like they would do with their own scientists and Germans, like they were the only ones, in my opinion, who treated the Germans properly. They stuck them in a fucking bunker. They treated them like prisoners for however many years. And when the war was done, they killed them and fucking sent them the fuck back to Germany. You know, like they didn't want that rotting the rest of their country. They had their own rot to deal with. That's the only thing I think they did well was when they took all the soldiers, like we did for Paperclip. Their version of that was, no, they're still really bad piece of shit Nazis. Like, don't put them in any kind of, don't give them the von Braun role of the head of fucking NASA. You know, how about we treat them like war criminals that they are? Even though they've gone on to do their own fucking terrible things, you know, like I'm not giving Russia a pass on a single damn thing, but
wow,
I think what
check
we're
out
watching
this
is,
quote. We must
Yes, sir.
shed the super secret cloaks and educate our leaders at all levels on the real Psi military potentials and threats so we can adequately focus and prioritize national resources. Only through greater openness and awareness to the truth can we adequately prepare. Wow.
It's the military that understands this, that they could only succeed in anything, any venture with proper knowledge and education and execution, right? Like, I think that's
Now,
what that's stating.
why is this in the Epstein files?
This isn't in the Epstein files. This is
Oh, okay. Okay.
these are things that I found on the peripherals, right? Like
Okay.
looking
Some
back
of the
on where
scientists that
these,
were involved and
yeah, or
connections.
programs that they had been in touch with, right? Like you mentioned McGonagall, you mentioned Lou Elizondo. They would have been
Yeah.
offshoots of whatever fucking program this was. Maybe not this exact program, but cyborg programs. You know what I mean? Like this is where it starts. This is our tangible evidence that the government puts more credence into it than they tell us they do. You know,
Right.
and this is also one safe for YouTube. Like I want that to be known that I put work into making sure that we don't get immediately canceled by our own fucking military's
Right on.
actions.
Right on.
But yeah,
Well,
this
I
is
know.
a
I was saying
tame one,
earlier, like,
you know.
you're going to get striked for just reporting the news right now. It's crazy. Okay, so this gets into his computer science background, systems engineering background,
Because
vacuum
like
tubes to integrated circuits, side worlds to worldwide computer networks, from human senses to high-tech space sensors, so on and so forth. So this is kind
it
of
sounds like a fancy job at Google. You know, it's like, hey, do you want to work on
graduate of
space
the
sensors
Air
and
Force
ad marketing?
Squadron Officers School, the Air Command and Staff College, the Armed Forces Staff College, Class 75, and the Air War College, Class of 88. Man's greatest potential remains a prisoner of man. Okay, so this is, I guess, just the same.
Yeah. Well, this is because
Okay, now it's
you read
getting
the
into it.
introduction. Yeah. So what you
Yeah.
did up there was
There's
read
John
the introduction.
Alexander right there. In December 1980, Lieutenant Colonel John Alexander, U.S. Army, authored an article in Military Review entitled "The New Mental Battlefield Beam Me Up, Spock." In this article, he challenged the imagination of his readers when he stated, to be more specific, there are weapon systems that operate on the power of the mind and whose lethal capacity has already been demonstrated.
Can we pause there for some nerd rage? Real quick?
Yeah.
Scotty, it's Scotty. Beat me up, Scotty. This Alexander guy's a poser. I want to point that out. He's a poser. He does not watch Star Trek. He's not a sci-fi nerd like the rest of us. He's trying to use our cool terminology and our fancy pop culture to sell his military apparatus.
He's too busy astral projecting to watch Star Trek. Bro.
He should be living Star Trek.
Yeah,
He should have
he's
this
really
down
beaming
pat
up
by
places.
now.
This is pretty amazing. I don't think I've seen this report. He discussed psychotronic weaponry and provided eye-opening, unclassified information on both Soviet and American research into parapsychological phenomenon. And he concluded, this is John McGonigal, ladies and gentlemen, the impact that psychotronic weaponry and other paranormal applications will have in the future is difficult to determine at this time. Whoever makes the first major breakthrough in this field will have a quantum lead over his opponent, an advantage similar to sole possession of nuclear weapons. The intent here is to emphasize the need for more coordinated research in the realm of the paranormal. Additionally, there is a need to provide leaders at all levels with a basic understandings of weapons systems that may encounter in the not too distant future.
Now, if I can go on to a fucking wild, crazy, out of
Please
this
do.
world
Yeah.
theory that I have, they are discussing manipulation and gaslight tactics within the AI overview. Okay, they're trying to pull in a way to manipulate people, right? Whether it's through psychic warfare or whatever means possible. This also has to do with propaganda, right? Like this is a piece of propaganda we're reading, folks, through and through. The only reason why it was declassified was that so we get up in our ass that they're doing all the things that we think they're doing. right? We don't know if any of this shit worked. We don't know to what degree it worked.
Or
I'm
if
not
it's
saying
even
it didn't
true.
work or it did. Yeah, like this
You
could
just-
be
it's
all
just words on a
for
piece of
Cold
paper.
War purposes. Exactly.
Right.
Except they do get into anecdotes and they do start getting into some shit later on in the paper. But right here, I'm clued in on AI. Right, the easiest version of that is to just have a robot gaslight the fuck out of you, like we see happening every day. Right? Do you know how many arguments I've had with AI about the Epstein files? Right? Because I'm trying to find, I'm trying to find an easier way to go through this while using like 2 or 3 different things. I'm using web. I'm also using Gmail. So, like I'm doing my own research, but I'm trying to see if I can find corollaries, crossing between different fields and stuff like that. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Just because of how much is here. And then when you get to Grok, when you get to Google's Llama or whatever LLM they're using, you run into an issue where it doesn't want to talk about it. It'll say, oh, no, that's speculation. And then you go, oh, well, there's here, this 6 email chain right here proves my point and is enough to investigate. And then it'll have to go around and go, oh, you are right. I looked at what you showed me. And this is the bit of wordy lawyering that it does. From the image or the what's it called? The web page that you sent me seems that your information is true. But it's not admitting that the information is true. It's saying your information. So if we're going off of what you are giving me here, I have to agree with you. Now, since I'm going through things out of the DOJ, it is true, especially if it's coming out of Epstein's mouth to 6 of his cohorts, you know what I mean, talking about certain things. But I'm reminded of AI. I'm reminded of Marvin Minsky. I'm reminded of Al Seckel. A lot of people don't really know who the hell this guy is, but he was married to Ghislaine Maxwell's sister in England. He went off a cliff and died in 2014. And now this is one that I'm working on for an unrelated episode to any of the other stuff that we've ever done, where I found emails of Epstein talking about what he thinks happened there, where he thinks I'm just going to say state's witness. Right? We might want to cover this quick because now I'm kind of giving up the ghost on this
Epstein's going to be a
investigation.
state's witness?
Al Seckel, fake death,
Al
state's
Seckel.
witness.
Oh, shit.
Rift in this time with Ghislaine and her sisters. Ghislaine is the younger of the sisters, no less. So Isabel and Christine are the older sisters. Like as much as my little brother would like to think that I'm a totally different entity, like I do get respect because of my age and the shit that I know of the however many years that I was older than him, plus familial respect. You know what I mean? You don't see that with these sisters, especially after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. And then, what's going to happen if Maxwell gets pardoned?
Just one second. You do get preferential treatment, though, when it comes to tech and insider information. That is where you do see the sisterly love, right? Where they're giving each other stock tips and shit. But that's where it ends with them.
Interesting.
All right, so I'm sorry.
Weird,
I went off on a tangent. What were you saying with the last question?
No, that's just crazy. Well, so what do you, let's say Maxwell gets pardoned on Trump's last day. I mean, what do you think?
She's going to.
Yeah.
Dude, she's going to. Yeah, and this is, I hate Maxwell. I hate her. You know that part of my investigations here have been, and this is dying on a hill. I'm very happy to die on. And I mean like literally, not suicidal. This is something I'll look into no matter what danger phases me, because this is still active, right? What I'm suspecting is going on is she's in jail, and just like every other mafia boss, they're still running things from the inside to a degree. Maybe not with enough knowledge that they can give up whatever information on it, but somebody else is taking the reins, and she knows who it is. I also, within the way that it was tried, how is she a trafficker, right? And now I know she's a trafficker. We've seen all the evidence. In the DOJ's eyes, how is she a trafficker when she has trafficked to nobody?
What are you talking about? She's trafficked a bunch to Epstein.
That's all, right? But I'm sorry, Epstein can call an escort service. Epstein has enough money, and like we saw him fully capable in getting girls from overseas. He, like, I don't know, the amount of girls that he was procuring and things. I don't think there's enough time in the day to ruin all those women's lives in the way that they have been ruined. You know, I think
I
he had to
mean,
have a lot of help
Maxwell
there.
was literally going to that high school, like actively recruit, like 50 women just in, where was it, Palm Beach? And I say women, but these were like girls in high school.
Yeah, but this is the weird thing. Like, I don't know. Have you ever gone to pick up your kid from school, right? And it's a new year, because I've had to do this with my nephew. Like, I picked him up. I get there, and they go, "We don't know who you are. You're not his usual
Sure.
guardian. You know,
Sure.
let's call the parents. And if you're not a piece of shit, you go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yeah, call whoever you need to put your mind to rest, because I'm only here to pick up my nephew. Like, everything's
Right.
above board. Fucking do all the research you got to make sure you don't think I'm taking some kid that I shouldn't. Right? Like, that's what I look for, and that has happened.
Right.
How does this, like, you're talking about schools of very, very rich children, right? Where, like, if this is happening, I'm not thinking trafficking. I'm thinking, oh no, this child is being kidnapped for ransom type purposes. Like, do you remember the movie Kindergarten Cop?
Of course. It's filmed in Oregon.
Girls have penises, boys have vaginas.
Yes.
That movie points out what I'm trying to say, and that's just a regular school.
Yeah.
You know,
Astoria.
when you get into the Montessori schools, where you have children of diplomats, that's the most prized possession for kidnappers and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you grabbing somebody off the street in Colombia is a 1 in 200 shot. Maybe this person is loved enough that people pay as ransom. When you have a child who's like the relative of a political attaché, something like that, like you bump things up. You get better security in those schools. You know, like by the time I went to high school, New York was a little crazy. So every school had police officers that were the security, and every school had metal detectors going in and out. You had they check your bag. My school wasn't bad enough that everyone had to wear clear backpacks. That was my cousin's school in New Jersey, but it got bad enough that they had actual police in all the schools, and they were checking bags.
Right.
You know, that's how you
all over
probably
the
do
country.
things. Yeah, that's how you probably do things for poor kids. Okay, now when you have the elite with their progeny that's going to run the world, you want to make sure that nothing happens to these. Yet you have a trafficker just going in and picking up children, no fucking problem.
Like, how does that work?
Doesn't work. It doesn't. It kills all logic there. You know, like there's also, this is the thing, right? You go to McDonald's and you get your food wrong, you're going to be pissed. But you realize, like, I went to McDonald's, there's like an 18-year-old behind the counter. He doesn't give a shit about his job. You know, like the manager, they're older, they care about their job, but they're not going to wrangle all 7 employees that they have to wrangle. Like, just logic there, right? But now you go to a Michelin star restaurant, you can complain till the stars come home, because that guy's paid $150,000 a year plus to make sure that there is no mistakes, right? That's with every job. That extra bit in your paycheck is to make sure that you are not fucking around, where you shouldn't be fucking around. You know, you're getting that extra paycheck to make sure that there is, like, absolutely no fucking around.
Wait, that's the top shelf.
Well, that's what it should be.
I'm going to ask you again, just looking at these 4 right here, what do you think? I mean, we've heard about the wanting to impregnate 20 plus women and spread his gene. We've heard the quote. What do you think were his long-term goals here, just looking at these fields of study?
We'll go dark first. We'll work our way towards the light.
Well, I doubt it was light.
Well, the light being light larceny and extortion and things like that. But the real dark angle is, like, I don't know, generations of abuse victims, you know, that have no paper trail. You know, that's
and
what,
that are
to me,
just
it
okay
sounds
with
like.
it.
Yeah, well, not even that. It doesn't matter if they're okay with it, because.
But why would he want them to be his own bloodline?
But they don't care about that. If you look at all other perpetrators, that line usually only means getting caught. It's not a moral thing, right? Like,
Yeah, I know Ron pointed out a couple episodes ago that a lot of the royals are inbred.
yeah, that's the Rothschilds. That's not even contested. Like, the weird part about the Rothschild thing is, like, it was first cousin, then so like you get severity of the degrees of terribleness that will happen to your genetics.
Sure, like
Based upon
bad
that stuff, right?
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So like a third cousin and a third cousin, it's pretty bad, but like genetically, less things will happen, right? But now if it's like a first cousin and a first cousin, who the parents are brother and sister, way closer familiar things, right? So you punch it up to maybe a 0.005 chance that there's going to be a defect to like a 13% chance, right? Now if you have 3 generations that are first cousin, you end up with a Habsburg, right? Now we know the Habsburgs did this over and over again to keep wealth in, and it resulted in their final heir being so mentally deficient and so horribly disfigured that he couldn't function properly. He had to have his own staff of people like feeding him. He would drool constantly, like he couldn't open and close his mouth right because his jaw was so big.
Jeez.
Right. And now the weird part is like that's known. That's we can go back to the evil, dirty work that the Germans were doing with phrenology and stuff like that and eugenics to know that that type of breeding leads to certain things.
Yes.
All the AIs in the world will tell you that the Rothschild DNA is somehow exempt from all those things, right? And only because we've never seen any deformed Rothschilds, even though that one guy who looks like Mr. Burns looks like he's got the opposite of the Habsburg jaw, you know, like. But Grok will tell you, and I've had this argument with Grok, like out in open conversations. This wasn't like me querying a secret Grok thing. This is like somebody talking about it, asked, hey, Grok, is this real? Grok was like, yes, but there were no genetic defects that we know of, and it never caused anything like the Habsburgs. Oh, well, how do you know, Grok? And I go, let's just look at it biologically and ignore the name Rothschild.
Grok's like, it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. As long as your last name is Rothschild, don't worry about it, you know? And then I go, okay, all right. So you're telling me you know everything about this, right, Grok? And he goes, well, no, I don't know personally everything, but there are researchers who know everything, and they've written books on this. And I go, okay, what were they, and what were their names? And I go, okay, now who paid for them to write these books? Oh, well, it was paid for by the Rothschild Foundation to dispel rumors. Oh, so it's paid by them to dispel the rumors about them. Okay, that's not weird. And then I go, okay, well, can we see the will that the first Rothschild that put this into the will, right? It said that no woman can marry outside the family and take any wealth or property away. If you marry a man outside that family, you are cut off completely. You still get to keep your Rothschild's name if you hyphenate, but you get no money. The family will stop talking to you. It was like Scientology practice, right?
So you just don't get married?
Well, no, you marry your cousin. You marry your uncle. You marry someone within the family, so you get to keep the money in the family.
Are they from Utah?
Yeah, some of them. Some of them.
Okay. Sorry to our Utah friends. No, nothing personal.
Strange, but you have to look at the weird overlap between some of the cults that are out there. Like I just mentioned Scientology to be less controversial.
So similar, right?
Right.
Again,
now,
it's just another way to take advantage of. They hide behind all this holier than thou shit, but all they're doing is ruining young women's lives. That's what they're doing. And like, I'm so
100%.
tired of it. We should all be so tired of it. Like, leave the kids alone. Let them grow up. Let them be kids. Like, they already have to worry about fucking school shootings. Now they got to worry about this shit too.
As much as I want to rail on the people right now, I can't. I can never get upset at my fellow man who is outside the government.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And that's simply because, like, this is 2026, right? We lambast everyone who gets made fun of and punches somebody in the mouth for saying the wrong thing, right? Like, we've reached that point in society where if somebody says something bad to you, you just walk away. And that's how, like you're a good person Like me, I don't know. There's certain things that you can say that maybe you might get popped. Like especially if you're not a friend. You know what I mean? Like if you're just some asshole on the street, just starts. Like I don't know. I may not be able to be as nice as Jesus would have liked me to be. But I try. I think about it.
Buddy.
I will not try to karate chop for words alone. But we've reached that point. We can say that we've reached that point. Then go down the path of what the government is forcing us to do, right? Like, we've gone the words route. We've gone the, hey, impeach this person because clearly nothing is getting done. We're getting the Kash Patel saying there's no actionable intelligence. And then the 3 brothers who were caught trafficking were in the Epstein files.
Yeah.
The ones that are prosecuted now. They were in the Epstein files and they were redacted. Hell, if they wouldn't have been redacted, they could have been arrested 3 years ago, maybe, and not have raped any of the women that they have. And I don't have to say allegedly on this. They are charged now with raping women at Epstein's residences. So, like Kash, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, I'm going to give you a trust me, bro. Trust me, bro, do your fucking job. It's better than you not doing your fucking job, bro. Maybe not do smear ice challenges. Dick height in a locker room. You know what I mean, bro? I don't know. I'm trying to appeal to his bro bullshit.
I did this just for you.
McClanahan is there. The puck is still loose. 11 seconds. You've got
46 years after the U.S. defeated the Soviet Union in a stunning upset known as the Miracle on Ice.
you believe in miracles? Yes!
This morning, the men's hockey team celebrating another dramatic win, this time over rival Canada on the final day of competition. For much of the game, the score tied at 1-1. Goalie Connor Hellebuck keeping the Americans alive by stopping 41 shots. In 3-on-3 overtime, a bruised and bloody Jack Hughes battled through to score the game winner. The win costing him parts of 2 teeth.
Actually, my first thought was I looked down the ice and saw my teeth. I was like, here we go
what a
again.
fucking
I know
badass.
the last time that happened,
I
it
love
wasn't
hockey,
very
dude.
fun.
Hellebuck celebrated draped in the American flag, echoing Jim Craig in 1980.
Here it
In a touching
comes.
tribute, the team honored former teammate Johnny Gaudreau, killed along
That's
with his
kinda
brother
cool.
more than a year ago, by celebrating on the ice with Gaudreau's number 13 jersey.
Just a subtle reminder that, him, his brother, that they're kind of with us in spirit.
Then a wild scene in the locker room with
There he
FBI
is.
Director Kash Patel
Fucking Kash. I'm not
celebrating
hating
with the
on his
team, appearing to
enthusiasm.
chug-
It's well deserved. But you've got better fucking things to do, buddy. Get off your knee. What are you doing? What are you doing? Fuck are you doing, dude?
We're literally in the middle of an investigation that involves some of the most powerful, most elite people in the country, and he's chugging a
Like, this
beer.
is
in
how
the
you win
hockey.
everybody in the. That's how you win everybody in the country right now. You slam that beer and then you go, we're arresting everybody in the fucking files.
In a
Slam the
stunning
beer on the
Oh my
ground and walk
God.
out. You're
Was I
a
looked
winner
down
at
the
that
ice
point.
and saw
You
my
just
teeth.
won with the team and you're in the FBI. You didn't even have to play any cool hockey to look like a fucking tough
Right.
guy.
Right.
And now what goes on? You say there's no actionable intelligence, and we're watching people in other countries get arrested over these files. Man,
Like, why is he in there?
who knows? I didn't even know
Why
he
is
liked
the
hockey. I didn't even
FBI
know this.
director in a USA hockey locker? It is so fucking random. And then he's like, well, yes, I love America, and it was extremely humbled. That's why I chugged that beer. Oh, my God. So the last episode I did on this, the Clinton episode, I covered some of the Acosta stuff. And I found a snippet of Patel talking about the Acosta investigation. I thought was pretty
Now, I
interesting.
know that there's a lot of talk about Epstein. And I'm here to testify that the original sin in the Epstein case was the way it was initially brought by Mr. Acosta back in 2006. The original case involved a very limited search warrant or set of search warrants and didn't take as much investigatory material it should have seized. If I were the FBI director then, it wouldn't have happened.
It wouldn't have happened.
People are also
but
just
yes.
starting to mention this unknown Epstein character. No one knows who he is. He's an international man of mystery. In 2026, this fucking bozo is saying that. Everyone knows this asshole. Everyone knows more than the FBI does, apparently, as well.
Apparently, which is also scary. I mean, on both, either if they're hiding stuff from us, that's concerning. And if they haven't figured this stuff out, that's concerning. So either way, it's not looking great for the FBI right now.
I talked to my grandma about this, right? This is just so we can fold in somebody from the I would say 2 generations above us, right? She was like, "Oh, he's a piece of a fucking cunt, yeah, hey." I didn't even know she was Irish, bud. Went full Irish and
Full
boom, hit
Irish.
me with the Epstein's a cunt, you know. And that's my grandma who doesn't know anything about anything. She still believes in flat Earth, so.
I think she's got that part right. Okay, today the Epstein's accountant testified before the House Oversight Committee. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I heard about the things. I didn't see the things, but I heard about the things.
What interesting things did you hear about? Anything good?
No, I am trying to like just the lack of things going on with movement as far as prosecutions are concerned. I'm like trying to avoid the actual mainstream coverage of this shit. Because
right, but that matters though, because
it does.
Well,
I mean,
the oversight hearing
heart,
stuff matters. It does. It's rough, man. It's rough, and it's very disheartening to see these people that at one time or another, if we're honest with ourselves, we admired in a way, now looking like a common criminal. You know,
That's just a politics angle alone. We could say that with, right? Like you think of a politician, and now this is like naive us, not now where we know politics are fucked. But you hear somebody doing civil service for their government and the people, right? And then you're also getting a small paycheck for it, a capped salary, so to speak. Right. That's noble work to do. That's a good job to have if you care about your people and things like you're clearly doing it for things other than money. But now that with all the things that we do know now, there's so much insider trading that you could have. Although I'm not saying that $100,000 job a year is not a fantastic job. It's a fantastic job. But when you're running a state, when you're running this, and you're in charge of however many millions of dollars that are running through that state, you know, like that's a reputable thing to do. But then when you see the insider trading and the things that goes on and people like AOC is already a fucking millionaire.
Right.
If we're going to believe her bullshit about her going in as a bartender, which I don't believe, I don't think she can mix a fucking kamikaze, let alone make an actual drink. I doubt
kind of
but she's a millionaire
money,
now, you know?
That kind of money and that kind of power and that kind of influence is addictive, and it's how they rope these people into the system.
But in like just seeing it on the face, they don't have any power. Right, and I only say that because like
they have more than
money
you or
that
I have.
Do they? Because I'm not beholden to a lobbyist, right? You know, like I'm not beholden to somebody else's opinion. They're the only reason why they have that money is because that influence is paid for.
They get a vote though up there at Capitol Hill that we don't get.
Oh yeah, touche. I was just talking about the puppet angle of like.
Oh sure, yeah.
Because they're somebody else's puppet, they don't have any anonymity. But you're right. On the face of it, they have the 100% of the power because they are allotting that power. But that power is being paid for by somebody else, so it's being rented out. It's like subletting their political view.
When the Supreme Court said corporations are people and they can donate as much as they want to these candidates, the average American got fucked. Period. Because now it's just like, well, sorry, but Walmart's donating $58 million. What are you donating? 100? Yeah, I'll be real concerned about what you think about things. Anyway, okay.
The real way to handle that, like a G, is you pull the Larry David. You do an anonymous donation, right? And then you just tell everybody at the party it was you. You know, you go, hey, it was me. It was me. It was a bit of me, you know? And it took Larry a long time to figure that out. Yeah, he took him a little while to figure it out. Ted Danson beat him to the punch. But
oh, man. Okay, so this is today, and I only bring it up because this was the House Oversight Committee today, had this hearing with this accountant, and we don't have the video yet. So we have to go over what the people that we have to go by what the people that were there are saying happened. I'm not a big MS fan, but this was a story that came upon in MS covering this. So let's take a look at this for a minute and just see if anything interesting came out today, though I doubt it.
Do we have his name?
Breaking news from Capitol Hill this morning where
Let's see. It'll probably say it.
Jeffrey Epstein's accountant is testifying before members of the House Oversight Committee. Richard Kahn is appearing for a transcript.
Richard Kahn. I'm guessing it's K-A-H-N?
Yeah, that's easy. Okay.
I
know exactly who
ongoing
he is.
Epstein probe. The committee subpoenaed Kahn back in January as they seek to learn what
just
he
one
knew
second.
about Epstein's activities.
All right, so they're calling him the accountant?
Apparently.
He was like assistant role is what I would have put him as, which is higher than an accountant as far as like a criminal liability, right? Only because he's the one. Okay, all right. So maybe he is handling the money because I do see him as an intermediary between like the contractors coming in and doing all the major work on the island and the Zorro Ranch and stuff. But he's also in contact with the girls. He's in contact with a lot of the people. Like very similar to a Leslie Groff. Like if you see how Leslie was acting
all the time,
she was in a higher administrative role. But like this Richard Kahn guy may have been the accountant, but he was also like a full-on liaison between all the house girls. By that I mean like the women who were helping him traffic. He was in between Epstein. He was in between the contractors doing the dredging and the submarine work and all that. Like if you just type Richard Kahn in, there's going to be probably 50,000 emails from him alone.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. And so it's interesting that they subpoenaed him in January. He's in there today. And I wonder, it's interesting because half of these are video testimony and the other half is just transcribed testimony. So I'm wondering if this is going to be transcribed or a video we're going to get in a day or two like the Clintons.
In the more than a decade he spent managing his finances. Let's bring in MS Now senior Capitol Hill reporter Ali Vitale and MS Now senior legal reporter Lisa Rubin. Ali, in addition to being Epstein's former accountant when he was alive, Kahn is also a co-executor of Epstein's estate, currently one of two people controlling what's left of Epstein's wealth. Victims' lawyers have accused him of gatekeeping key evidence. What questions are we expecting lawmakers to ask today?
Gatekeeping key evidence, also potentially benefiting from any settlement money that's not doled out based on the fact that he would be a beneficiary of what's left of the Epstein estate at that point. But my understanding from
how weird is that whatever the guy doesn't give out, he gets to keep.
That's fucking genius. Oh my God.
How's that even legal?
How many industries did Epstein figure out how to make people do their fucking job right? That's what you do. That's how a salesman works. If you can sell more things, you get a bigger percentage. If you can cause my lawsuits to go down and me to not have to pay out more money, you get more
the
money.
Rest. Yeah.
Like that's perfect. That's how you make sure accountability is safe. Why can't the government figure this the fuck out? You have to have a piece of shit trafficker figure out how to make your employees do good work. Like what I want to know is what they had on him or what was being threatened with him, because he could have done the same as everybody else with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. You know, he could have pled the 5th and everything and not given up a single name. But instead, if you look at the list, it's like Les Wexner, Leslie Groff, like all the big names. But he is putting the nail in the coffin because this is the guy who, if the government is telling you you're the money guy for Epstein, and then now you're answering questions as the money guy for Epstein, I don't know. You're technically by that point the money man. That means that you're culpable in where all that money goes.
Right. You're going to be viewed in that way, one way or the other. So clearly, the mainstream trying to put that label on him. We can see here whether it's true or not. I don't know, but they're definitely putting that label on him.
From sources in the room right now is the deposition is immediately underway. They're pretty on time. We're supposed to start at 10 a.m. Unclear how long this will last. I've heard everywhere from 2 to 5 hours, but there's certainly a lot of questions for him to answer, especially as members come in with a range of topics wanting to seek a better understanding of how money flowed through Epstein's network. There are questions to be asked about the chain of command, how the general processes worked for Epstein on everything from claims of sex trafficking to the way that people were paid off within his orbit, all of that.
That is something as I go through the files, as I go through the emails, becomes more and more of a question, is like the flow of all these things he's requesting and then like the flow of money he's paying for these things. And sometimes, just as a small example, you can look up like this Wayfair order where they they decide to fill up an entire container of Wayfair furniture to get to the beach, to St. James, Little St. James. Before they can get it there, there's all this back and forth about a cash deposit and how are we going to get the deposit, and then, let's make most of the room in the container. Just a lot of strange activity for like a Wayfair order. I mean, am I reading too much into this stuff?
Nope.
It just seems strange.
This is a man who has I don't know if you've ever worked for any super wealthy people, but when you own a mansion, especially like multiple mansions, you have like a 100-person staff. You have house managers, cleaners, maids, all sorts of people, right? So depending upon how high you are, it would be how many people you're dealing with. So we just get to see how high in the establishment he is, being that Richard Kahn has to be the liaison into any time that money goes out, right? He's got all those properties, meaning he has the money. It's liquid. It's not like he doesn't have 10 million he can pull out of his ass. But depending upon what he's buying, he would have to go through certain ways to make sure that the money isn't coming from an obviously illegal place, right? If he has all this money that he can just pull out of his ass, maybe he doesn't want his name attached to the shipping order. Maybe he doesn't want his certain money coming from certain accounts, like he doesn't want any direct trafficking to pay for the shipping order. You know what I mean? There's many different ways to just fucking around with that Richard Kahn would know to do to keep the law off his ass. And we already know how weird the Wayfair angle gets anyway. Like, this is IKEA. This is IKEA. For a rich person to order some IKEA is no big deal. Why is Richard Kahn going the lengths that he is to try and pull the money out from different places? Like, I don't know if I sent you this email, but there's one where a real estate agent who's a friend of his is telling him about a super wealthy family is selling one of their islands for like $3 or $4 million. So they're like, hey, man, if you don't have the money for this, I suggest that you go look for change under your sofa until you find the $3 million, because this island's going to be worth it. And this is in 2010. She's telling him this.
And this would have been his third island.
Yeah, number 3, because he had
number 3.
Greater St. James, Little St. James, and now it would have been that third. He might even have more. Who the hell knows? But that was him being told directly from a real estate agent, like, hey, fucker, get some funds together because this thing is going cheap because these people need to get rid of it. And I hear you like islands, so wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's actually a funny conversation that the two have, because Epstein is like trying to poo-poo an island. Motherfucker, you just bought another island. Like, don't poo-poo the island. This lady is trying to make a buck on this sale, and it's understandable. You're an island purchaser. Don't poo-poo the island.
Yep. Richard Kahn. Okay. So, I wonder if they have any... It sounds like they're speculating here. I'll let him go on for another minute here.
Is something that members plan to ask about, both Republicans and Democrats that we've spoken to here. But I also have an understanding that Kahn, in his opening sentence and opening statements, is saying to lawmakers that he didn't know about any of the crimes and wasn't aware of any abuse, also saying that he played no role in setting up the companies. So all of that is happening in near real time, again, giving us a better sense of how he's setting himself up.
This is like, I get so sick of these gaslighting statements. I worked with the guy. I transacted millions of dollars for the guy, but I had no idea he was into weird shit like that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Just a quick aside. Darren Indike, right? That's one of his lawyers. right? And now I found email chains of Epstein talking to this is like the communications people with the microwave dishes, the microwave technology, right? Where he's talking to somebody else, right? Like, so it's a group of maybe like 4 different people, and they're all going back and forth with each other trying to work out. Because at this point he has communications at Zorro Ranch, and they're starting to be done on Little St. James and Greater St. James. He's now talking about bringing in his Manhattan apartment and his French apartment, the one that he has in Paris, into the encrypted communication service, right? He was advised to do this by Darren Endyke, and that's Jeffrey Epstein's own words, because Darren Endyke is CC'd on every message going back and forth. Darren Endyke is the one telling him to do the microwave telecommunications thing because it's fully encrypted and no one can hack your shit. You could have each one of your properties talking back and forth to each other without anybody being able to do that, i.e. all the server rooms that he had were building up its own private infrastructure. Hillary Clinton had one of those in her bathroom. Now imagine your network is so big that you need a server farm on every one of your properties, which he had. He had one in Manhattan. We saw pictures of that. He had one in Little St. James, which I'm thinking that was mostly what LSJ was like the housing for the data of all the fucked up shit they were doing, whether it was like the CSAM material or any of that stuff. That was like the distribution hub in the middle of nowhere. But with that, it was all encrypted. And it was on his lawyer's advice to do said encryption, right? To prevent the law enforcement from being able to find out what he was up to, which that's illegal. To have your lawyer tell you how to evade police detection in your illegal activities is an illegal thing. You know, like I'm pretty sure Dershowitz might have been slightly smarter than Endyke to not have himself implicated in shit like that. You know, other than the massages, you know.
Yeah. So I put out on X, I put out the video that YouTube make us take down that talked about Karen Mulder. Because I felt like, you know, I wanted to put it out there regardless. So
well, I want to thank you for that. If
you're a fan of this show, go to my X account and you can see the Karen Mulder interview in France that got taken down.
If I recall, that was one of the little known facts that I hadn't even really touched upon. And that kind of caused me to be quiet and rethink a lot of things, especially when you get the Trump angle in, which was the whole first half of that episode, was Trump and the what's it called, the pageants.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, this isn't a Trump bashing show, but we're calling out everyone equally and that was involved in this shit. And you start to see like, fuck, this guy was all over the place. I mean, in the late 80s, the 90s, you know, maybe calmed down a little bit in the 2000s and married a mail order bride, but essentially he was a fiend. And particularly for young women. This was an interview. Did you catch this interview on Julian Dory?
Oh no, I haven't watched Julian's podcast in probably a couple months. Actually, I think the last one was like the Kurt Metzger one.
Man, this is crazy. So this is a survivor, an Epstein survivor who got attacked and basically held at Epstein Island. And she has some very, very interesting perspectives. You want to check this out for a minute?
Oh, heck yeah, dude. I know that there was a few of the girls that literally tried to escape by swimming and have been brought back by boat. So I hope she didn't have to go through that. That's fucking horrific.
Dude, it's crazy. I was only able to catch a little bit of this. But again, just from Julian Dory's show. We love Julian Dory. Go check out the full episode. But here is some of it from an Epstein survivor who was on the island.
New York agency, and whoever they like, you know, they organize the visa.
And where we're starting is what we were just talking about, was the underage modeling agencies that kind of serve as like grooming for these rich fucks.
visas and they come work in the US. That's how it works. Now, how these men were doing it was a little different. They would have a casting probably at the hotel, and if you want to model, maybe the ones that probably didn't have potential, maybe they would do certain things. So there was this underground of abuse and assaults that were happening just right at that level, even before they even got to New York. And then they were sending them to the people in New York, like MC Squared, Jean-Luc Brunel's agency, that was, Epstein was funding that agency, and bringing them there, and poor things, having to do things like live in the mall apartments or have to go see Epstein or others. And they were getting assaulted left and right. I mean, this is the higher level of modeling. I mean, even like our biggest agencies in New York, even the women that own these agencies and that were the director of these agencies, in the files, there's emails of them sending their girls to Epstein. I mean, in Paris, there was an agency that just came out too that was also saying, oh, I got a nice 16-year-old Brazilian. Can I send her over to you? I'm sending him over to Jeffrey. I'm like, why are these women sending young girls to Epstein? Do they not know why? Like, why would this older man want to see these girls? Like, did they not even think about it? Or is it their relationship with them too important, or the money that he gives their agencies, or whatever it is, the clout? I don't know. Why is it so important that these older women are sending young women and teenagers to Epstein? Do they even know that Epstein has now taken these girls, putting them in his orbit, and then trafficking them out?
The term that keeps coming to mind as I read these files and reading the same things that you're describing right now, of which there are, that I know of, hundreds of examples like this, which means there's probably thousands. I just think the term vampire, it's like this, the people who do these types of things to young girls, young boys, or just take advantage of anyone sexually, regardless of age, period. There's a shame that with their power they put into that act that is symbolically, to me, the same thing as vampires biting someone's neck in any, fictional fantasy story you've read. And the idea is like, it's the ultimate
control,
and I own a piece of your soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like I own you. Yeah.
So when they send, what did you say example was, a 16-year-old, I have a 16-year-old Brazilian for you. No name, just the age and the ethnicity. Go take a piece of her soul, then she'll do whatever we want. That's how it reads to me.
Yeah, but isn't it funny that you have these Epstein files?
It's amazing because he just put into words what I've been trying to say through video for the last couple months. Is like, these rich bastards are eating our kids, right? Like, metaphorically, they are chewing them up and spitting them out, one way or another.
Yeah, dude.
It's like you're expecting to see.
Yeah.
It's fucked. I don't know how, this broke me when I first found out about like how bad all this got, and the fact that people did this didn't break me. Like, I understand there's evil people out there, but it's when you have a government apparatus covering up for the bad guys. That's what broke me. I couldn't wrap my head around that. That like, okay, maybe some people are lazy and just didn't want to do their job, and they're like, too much paperwork. But like, seeing the good people being squished over and over again, like the investigators trying to do their job and then being squished over and over again and told not to investigate stuff, that's the heartbreaking part. To know your government is implicit with the acts.
Yeah, we had FBI agents and local law enforcement following up tips to search Zorro Ranch, who were told by the AG, the Department of Justice, to stop in 2019. That gave, even if there were bodies out there, whoever knew they were there that was involved, that gave them another 7 years to take care of that problem before today we're out there looking again. So they were able to delay that search by 7 years by a pen stroke.
Yeah, that's insane to me. 7 years, like at least if anything is found, it sucks because what that 7 years really did wasn't going to, like I'm thinking about statute of limitations on certain crimes, but what it really did was just gave them ample opportunity to move everything. In 2018, there was a dual engine prop plane that was behind one of the arroyos, maybe I'd say 20, 30 miles away from Epstein's Zorro Ranch Manor. Nobody looked into that. And I pointed that out to the FBI, like in a tip line, and got nothing back. Never heard anything that they found another plane on his property or whatever, but that was clearly one of his dipped behind an arroyo, and then it was gone. So I'm pretty sure if you look on the on Google Earth and you're able to go back 6-7 years, you'll still see it because they haven't removed that bit of data, but the plane is gone now.
You know whose plane that was?
Who?
Do you remember Carol Baskin's husband from the Tiger King?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't go to Puerto Rico.
Right.
He went and hang out with Epstein.
In the fucking tunnels.
In the tunnels. Yeah, that's who's down there running shit.
Breaking information,
Carol Baskin's
folks.
ex-husband. You heard it here first.
Okay, so Carol Baskins was the bitch, but she's not.
All right, so this lady's going to get into the attack here in a moment, which I think is pretty crazy. But again, first we're going to talk about this casting because it's obvious what they do, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a very handsome son or a very beautiful daughter, do not be swayed by some piece of shit telling you they could make a career for them and change their life and change your life and this and that and the other. All they're doing is what vampires do. And it's very clear through a lot of these modeling, quote unquote, camps or schools. What they're doing is grooming these girls to be prepared to get taken advantage of by rich older men. And that it's fine. Just watch the stuff we did on Look of the Year. It's very obvious that's what it was. And that's what it was for a very long time. And I think John Casablancas is one of the most evil fucks out there, to be honest.
Tell me to stop sending massive files over to you if it gets too much, but
send them over, bud. Send them over. All right, so I'll start downloading those.
I just sent you the second edition. This is just for reading material because it's a subject that I want to touch after this. It's the predecessor to Epstein's whole thing, but it's a Franklin cover-up. Second edition, which means it's been not rewritten, but certain things have been added after the case was quieted down and a lot of cover-ups happened. So it's a bit of follow-up. So I love this edition. But they go into Earl, if you read this, you get to see exactly how all these things get hidden. You'll have an entire police force trying to investigate a crime, and then the chief of police getting paid off. And then the chief of police telling the private investigator to fuck off or he's going to make his life hell. Things like that. Over the same things. This is all political human trafficking, right? This is boys, though. So this is in the 80s, Boys and Girls Town, or Boys Town of America and the Boys and Girls Club were implicated, but it was the worst at Boys Town. Where it was like...
Well, and we heard about all this stuff with the Cub Scouts, right? And the Boy Scouts. I mean... What a horror show.
Well, this was the reason why you had so much information on that is because they figured out that any type of orphanage, any type of volunteer, any type of thing like that, you have children who are stewards of the state, right? So they've got no official guardian, which means if you can just keep the abuse off of the paperwork, you can do whatever the fuck you want to these poor kids. And that's what was going on with this, because you had, this is one of those instances where you had victims coming forward going like, this really, really bad stuff happened to me. And then the government was like, all right, you have PTSD, all those things that you're saying happened. Something had to have happened because you're all fucked up mentally now, and you weren't when you were a child. And then they go, but we got to arrest you. So we're going to arrest you now for 10 years. And they would arrest the victims with this crime, like over and over again.
Jesus. Okay, so we're going to listen to the story about getting kind of seduced into the modeling world, and then how that becomes a recruiting tool for pieces of shit like Jeffrey Epstein.
I'm going to grab a cup of coffee.
You know, these men who are abusing young women and teenagers, let's say. We've kind of all known about that for a long time now. I just find it really kind of peculiar that now we're seeing emails between men of talking about like a 7-year-old. Like, why would you not think, just from seeing emails that have to do with a child, why would you not investigate that? Would that not tell you that there's something really, really, really wrong in the minds of some of these men?
Well, look, you're
do you know what a 7-year-old looks like?
You're talking about the most obvious example in the world, but go all the way to the top of the pyramid here. How about the fact that the man who owns the company that among his holding companies has the biggest female lingerie brand in the world, who gave all the wealth that we know of, I shouldn't say all, a large portion of the wealth that we know of personally to Jeffrey Epstein, and gave him power of attorney and shared businesses and trusts with him that sold houses to Howard Lutnicks of the world, by the way. You know, fuck you, Howard. But, you know, how about the fact that that guy was still covered up in these documents until Ro Khanna came out and said his name. He was still never arrested. He was never interviewed. To this day, they're about to go depose him at his mansion, by the way, on his turf, and some congressman in Ohio. But he was never even questioned by the DOJ. And yet in the documents themselves was listed back when Jeffrey was arrested as a co-conspirator. So you talk about, of course, the obvious examples. Oh, they're talking about a 7-year-old right here. Yeah, I think we should investigate that. But the dude at the top of it with him, or that we know of as the top, gets to live in America with all his billions of dollars, run all his companies for free, no problem, and doesn't even get questioned. Meaning, what the point I'm getting at, Lisa, is it is much deeper than just all the horrible individual examples we see. It's like, if you go to dig a hole and your goal is to dig a 30-foot hole, well, if you don't dig the first foot, you're never going to go to 30 feet. We're talking about things where we should be going to 30 feet. They haven't gone to the first foot.
Oh, I agree. You need to dig really, really deep.
Right?
Yeah.
But you cynically seem to share my opinion that someone like that probably won't end up in prison.
Yeah. Too much money.
Is that all it is?
Well, how do you know that they haven't called him in and showed him all the unredacted files? I mean, like, this is what we got on you. And it's pretty depraved, you know? And maybe he just paid him off. I mean, there's got to be some type of leverage here. I just don't believe for a second that you have that much information on an individual and they haven't tried to do something.
I agree with you, but not on the method.
Yeah.
As much money. Can we look up Les Wexner's net worth, Steve?
So not on the money, but maybe some other leverage?
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
Yeah, to make the point.
I always think it's about money, but what do you think it's about?
I mean, there's money in all this, to be clear. That's unfair of me to dismiss that. I'm not trying to do that. But what's he worth, ballpark? 9.1 billion. All due respect to his 9.1 billion, that's a shit stain ashtray money. When you're talking about the United States government, which in debt alone has, what is it? I don't know, 38 trillion, whatever it is. Guys like that, guys like Jeffrey Epstein, who gets a sweetheart deal like he did in 2008 after you said it was known he abused 43 women girls, underage, 12, 13, 14-year-old girls on record, and gets basically nothing for it. Their leverage goes well beyond money.
Yeah.
It's information, and it's dirt, and it's on people. That, like,
No,
he had, I don't know if you ever had a chance to like look and see this in the years that you were around him, but because I mean the whole point was it was hidden, but he would have 80 cameras in one room. If like this thing right here, if this were sitting on his table, it would have like a hidden camera in it.
I know. I knew he had cameras everywhere.
And you could see some of them.
No.
But you knew it.
No, I never saw them. He had showed me the room once with all the monitors.
In New York.
Mm-hmm.
What was the context that you see in that room? Was he like, I just want to show you something?
Well, that was the thing about Epstein. He was very much like very cheeky about things. He liked to show these things off.
Yeah.
He'd like to let you know on his famous friends, billionaires' friends, little secrets about them. He would tell you little things. He would laugh about things. Yeah, he always had this little grin on his face. I think that was after he I don't know if he to say the word trusted me, but these were the conversations I would have with him. I mean, because I was very I've always been really curious about things, so I would always ask. But yeah, no, he had showed it to me once. I knew, but I don't think he hid that from a lot of people, except for maybe the powerful men that were coming over.
Like how big is this room that you're talking about?
A little smaller than this room.
All right, this is a big room. This is 18 by 14 and a half. So maybe like a 15 by 12 kind of deal.
I don't know.
Something like that.
Just where someone who sits at these desks around it and then all these screens.
So someone's in there sitting at the desk watching. And would you see like, are we talking like 60 screens?
Gosh, I don't know how many.
I'm sorry, that's really specific.
30 or less.
Okay.
Half of that or less, yeah.
And then there's all kinds of mobile cameras and stuff that he has that you don't see in there.
Well, this is the best technology,
Right.
so people aren't coming in thinking. You're coming over for business with Epstein. I'm sure he has a really good business, and they're fascinated by him. He's really intelligent. He's fun to be around. I'm sure all these people really liked hanging around him.
Yeah.
Then he says, surprise, I have like a little, 15-year-old here.
Well, and this is like we know that the email came out where the guy was telling him he was able to get the little cameras inside the Kleenex boxes. I don't know if y'all caught that, but yeah, the guy had cameras everywhere. At his home, he had them all over the island, probably popping up from the tunnels when he needed to. Again, this is why I lean more and more towards intelligence, because who does this at this level? It has all these upper echelon contacts that either keeps them in his orbit to get leverage from them or keeps them in his orbit so he can say they're in his orbit. So either way, getting involved with Clinton, whether he was able to get video of Clinton banging an intern or not, the fact that he can say he provided all these flights for Clinton everywhere is instant credibility for him, for the next person that thinks about going into business or doing anything with him. And the fact that he was able to kind of talk Les Wexner out of this lifelong treasure he had built up is really impressive, and I think just, again, goes to show the level of manipulation and probably intelligence training that this man had. All right, so we'll go back to the victim here. Again, this is from Julian Dory. Mr. Dory, thank you so much for doing this interview. We do not see enough of these victims out here talking, unfortunately.
It's like, knows what's going on.
That's right.
That's the only reason why.
How long what you're describing right here I'll be conservative and say it's not much different from some form of sex trafficking. And if I want to be really just off the cuff with this, it sounds like sex trafficking to me. I'll let people in the comments decide that on their own, I guess.
Yeah.
But the second thing is the years where this is happening to you psychologically, 15, 16, 17, 18, you're getting desensitized to all of it. It is being ingrained in you as a young girl that this is normal. This is how things work. Oh, you want to have this career and whatever, you have talent. Lisa, you'll be great at this, but you got to do these things. And that's what look, everyone else is doing it too.
Yeah, I guess in a way. It's kind of like that. I mean, no one really says it like that, but I think you kind of have to play along a little bit. You learn pretty quickly when you speak out that nobody really cares or you should be quiet. Yeah.
Did your parents ask you about anything that ever happened when you were away from them for a week at a time in New York ever?
No. After I left home, I was by myself, living in countries for 3 to 4 or 5 months by myself. In countries, I lived in Greece by myself for 3 months. I lived in South Africa for 6 months by myself. So I was traveling, and it was pretty normal up until maybe like 5 or 10 years ago to travel as a teenager to these countries by yourself. I mean, I saw crazy shit happening, like in Greece and other places. You know. Yeah, just weird stuff. And usually involve like drugs or alcohol or, photographers or, clients or crew, just expecting girls to do certain things. I mean, you would push back as much as you can, but I think you could find pretty quickly that the more you push back on things, the more you're not really accepted or your career doesn't advance. So I think that's the reason why so many people leave the modeling business and especially the acting business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does seem you see it all the time. And like you were saying earlier, it's we're talking about abuse of girls and boys and everything.
Yeah, don't even get me started on the boys. It's pretty bad.
Within Hollywood that you've seen?
In the modeling business.
In the modeling business.
Oh, sure.
I've heard a lot about that too.
Yeah, Abercrombie boys, yeah.
And you put someone who's got like a dream to be able to get to this point or do this thing, and then they're young and they get.
So I think we lost Flak. Hopefully he comes back. But Flak had a personal experience being pulled off the street by one of these Abercrombie people and basically being asked to, strip down to his skivvies because he looked young. I mean, that's how he interpreted it. Yeah, we don't hear a lot about what the boys go through, but let's not fool ourselves. This same thing, if not worse, is happening to young boys.
They get sent somewhere far away to do it, and then it's like, well, you just got to do this thing and you'll get it, and their mind is groomed to be like, well, I guess I just gotta.
Yeah, it's a really sad business in that way. I knew a lot of male models who went for like big castings with huge photographers and were assaulted, and like if you didn't do something, then you don't get the job. And I knew boys that walked away from it. It's like, F you, I'm not doing that. And would walk away and just give up on their careers, and then I knew some who, had a lot of shame around, things that they did or didn't say no to or, Yeah, that's why I've always told you when I speak out, it's always for the men too. It's not just for women.
Right.
Yeah.
What was now you wanted to become a model, so you put yourself in a position to do it. But then once you were in it, you're around all these people from the business, the masters of the universe, if you will.
Yeah.
What was modeling scouting like back then? That's always a term, like you said you did it as well. We can get to that. But like whenever I hear that, I'm like, do you just like walk on the street and watch people pass by and go, ah, she's good looking. Ah, he's good looking. Let's talk to him. Like, was that what it was back then?
I mean, back then, not really. I mean, you do some street scouting. Obviously, if you see someone who has potential, you go up to them and, you hand them your card.
Now, again, the reason we're talking about this modeling and the reason like we did a whole episode on this stuff is because this is a huge recruitment tool for these rich pedos, right? They go to these things. They know the girls are separated from their family. They know they're underage. They know the chaperones that they're supposed to have can be compromised very easily with a few bucks. They know that they can tempt them with alcohol and drinks and promises of being a model, a famous model down the road. It's a tale as old as time. But when are we going to get sick of it and say, fuck you, not anymore? I mean, isn't 18 young enough? I think of an 18-year-old and I think that's like a kid. And these assholes have to try to go even, like they want children. Like this woman just said, a 7-year-old. A 7-year-old's a baby, man. Fuck is wrong with you? Craziness. So yeah, the recruitment of the modeling, the promise of a bright future, and then the immediate separation from the family and brainwashing commences.
And you always tell them for their mother or father to contact you. And then you say, then they come into the agency with a mother or father. That's how I've always operated. I mean, obviously there's scouts out there who don't operate like that. I mean, for me, I loved it. I really loved it. I would travel to all these countries and I would actually meet with agencies. So in each country of the world, let's say Sao Paulo, Warsaw, I went to Bratislava, like Croatia.
Okay, fast forward to this just a bit to, they're going to talk about Epstein potentially being intelligence. And then meeting Epstein and Prince Andrew, and then her kind of attempted escape from the island.
It's clocking.
Yeah.
He knows what's going on there. He's not dumb. And the thing is, when you kind of have that Coney Island accent, people underestimate you. They're like, this is the fun guy. And then they don't realize, like, this dude a shark.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like he had that package to be able to make you feel like,
well, there has to be some sort of extreme intelligence to pull all this off.
Right.
That people pick up on.
Right.
I mean, why would those types of men want to be around him if he wasn't brilliant in some way?
Yes.
Yeah,
because they didn't even know that before they'd meet with him.
Probably
before
not.
they'd get to know him. A lot of them didn't know that,
No, because Jeffrey's not going to put that out there until he knows who's going to, be playing.
Yep. That's why when I hear a lot of these guys in the years since it's come out be like, I knew he was a charlatan right away. I'm like, you don't need to say that. It's okay if you did. I know you're a smart guy. It's okay if you didn't think that.
Yeah.
Like, not clearly you and all these people went in there with him before there were women around in some cases. Like, you must have thought there was a there. And that's that part is okay to admit.
Yeah.
But like, just be fucking frank about it. Don't try to act like, I knew it the whole time. Well, then why did you fucking meet with him 40 times?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating. But let's get to it because we haven't gone there yet. We've been talking about him. Obviously, you spent some time around him. But what was the context of you first meeting Jeffrey? And it was in 2000, you said?
Yeah, I was a young model, had worked my way around, European countries and South Africa, Miami, and then I found myself, moving to New York City. And, I was working with this model agency called Q Models. They're still around, great agency. And booked a job for a cover of a magazine and a spread, and booked it with this Eastern European model. And so we flew to Tortola. It's in the British West Indies. It's next to Little St. James, St. John's, that area. And, did the photo shoot for a few days. And then the clients were like, you got a day off. You guys can do whatever you want to do. And we were on this little tiny island. So, the girl that I was booked with, she was like, I have a friend who owns an island nearby. His name is Jeffrey, and he helped me to get my visa to work in the U.S. He's been really great. He's like a mentor to me. But anyway, he said that we can go to his island, just hang out there for the day. And so the client said we could go. This is really strange, British clients. And so a boat was sent for us. We just got on that boat and we went over to, Little St. James.
What kind of boat?
It was just a little boat. It wasn't anything fancy because it was not that far away, the island, So, it was not that far away. So we got on this little boat. We went over to Little St. James. And then we just hung out there for the day. Like she said, we were just going to hang out. Didn't see or meet Epstein, for a while. I just hung out with the other girls. Now, I always remember there was 2 other girls there, but since the girls have spoken out and are connecting that they were also on the island, I've understood now there was other girls there. But I only remember 2 of them. So like we were playing in the pool, myself, the Eastern European girl, and 2 other girls. They were all blonde. And there was an older man in the pool too. And he was just like hanging out with us, but he was really just like kind of frolicking and canoodling with one of the other young girls. Mm. And so I just observed that.
How old we talking?
I don't know. I don't know. When you're in your early 20s, everybody looks old. I would think 40s, late 40s maybe at that time. I just knew he was like my dad's age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we take one step back for a sec, just when you first got onto the island, you dock, you get off, like, do you see the temple first? Do you see, what do you see?
The temple.
Whatever that thing was.
No, I didn't see the temple or anything like that first. No, I think it was farther back. And I think going up to the island, I could see like the structures and stuff. And I thought, wow, it was really beautiful. Gotta remember, we're not thinking too hard about everything back then. So it was just saw a beautiful island and definitely saw there wasn't too many structures on the island, just some buildings. And, it was really, I just remember it was like a really exotic, gorgeous island. And the pool was really pretty. And
who took you back to the pool? Like when you get onto the island, who receives you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know who receives us. I'm guessing it had to have been the other young girls. I think it was the other young girls. There was all these young girls on the island. So like there was a couple girls that greeted us and brought us in. All I saw were young girls that I was hanging out with while I was there. I only observed an older man who was in the pool for a little while. But he wasn't with us for most of the day. He just was in the pool for a little while, then he left. And then we were all just hanging out around the pool. Then we went into the room just to get dressed, for dinner that evening. And then we went to this really long table on the main house and sat down at the table with the other girls there. And that's when I met Epstein. And he walked in and said hello and sat down right next to me. And he just started asking me a bunch of questions, about like my dreams and ambitions and like what I was doing and where I'd traveled. And I was just telling him, about, my life and what I was really into and things like that. And we talked a bit, and I had, the one thing that really sticks out to me is I had lived in England growing up. And so I was telling him about living in Oxford, and, he had said he'd been there and knew a lot about Oxford. So we talked about that. And he had asked me if I wanted to meet a prince. And so I was looking at the other girls like, what, a prince? And in that moment, the gentleman from the pool walked up, and he was dressed like he was leaving. So he said goodbye to everyone, and he said hello to me. And then it was brief, and then he just left. So after that, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I met a prince.
That was Prince Andrew's in the pool.
Former Prince Andrew.
Former Prince Andrew.
Then he was,
Imagine that's the prince. Right? You're
so
imagining Prince Valiant or any of the other storybook ones. I'm just assuming that she's doing what every other girl does. Is they fantasize about the wedding with the prince.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing and the other crap. And then you see this fucking tubblard.
Old,
like,
disgusting.
Let me fondle you with my eyes.
Overweight pedophile. Yeah. Awesome.
definitely seen a prince on the island. Didn't really think that much of it. And then we were trying to leave, you know, to go on the boat to go back to the other island because we were supposed to get back.
This is where it gets weird.
You know, but then it was getting dark, and Jeffrey said, "Oh, you can't leave. You have to stay on the island. You have to stay here tonight." And so,
how did he say it?
well, he just was like, "Oh, well, it's getting dark. You guys can't leave yet. We can't send the boat back." So he couldn't send the boat back for us to leave on. So I didn't really think anything of it. I just thought, okay, well, I guess we'll just stay here. And so we went to that room. And I remember there was like an outdoor shower. And we got
Fucking
ready
cameras
for bed,
everywhere, I'm sure.
And I was just hanging out with the other girl in the bed, and we were just like chatting and stuff. And I had known her like from my agency, you know, I'd seen her around and stuff. So I felt really comfortable with her and safe with her. And then one of the other girls knocked on the door and was like, you know, "Jeffrey's ready for his massage. Let's go." And I was just like, "Huh? What do you mean a massage?" And she's just like, "Oh, well, you know, Jeffrey likes massages." And then the Polish girl that brought me was like, "Oh, yeah, well, I'm sorry, Lisa. I didn't think that he was going to want to do a massage with you. But, you know, he likes to do these massages, you know." She was like, "You can just follow what I do." And then we kind of argued a little bit, like, "You go do the massage." And then I turned to the girl who knocked on the door and was like, "Do I have to?" And she was like, "Yeah, you have to. He said you have to." So I was just like, okay. So I just went with the other girls and walked across the island to his bedroom area where, you know, we walked in and there was a real massage table and he was laying on the massage table naked. There was like a towel.
No towel.
Well, there was kind of a towel on him, but you can see he was naked.
He's just lying there.
Yeah, he's lying there. And then
How long was the walk between where you were and because you're outside?
I don't know. It felt like forever.
Right?
Because at that point, things had taken a different turn.
Yeah.
Because I just thought we were there to hang out on the island and we were going to go back to the clients and back to our safe job. But I didn't expect to do a massage. I mean, first of all, I don't even know how to do a massage. So the whole thing just seemed really weird. And I could see on the look on their faces that probably wasn't a good thing. So I just was in the room. And so it turned out to be a real massage where I remember learning real massage techniques, like how to like massage the back.
They're teaching you.
He is teaching me and how to close my eyes and give the massage. I remembered all that. Because he definitely directed us through it. He definitely likes massages. You know, he hired masseuses and all that stuff. So he's probably trying to see if I could be a really good masseuse, you know, maybe to hire me later. I don't know. But he definitely wanted me to do a real massage and the other girl. So we did a real massage like on his back and shoulders. But then that's when everything was done. The massage was done. And that's when he flipped over. And that's when he wanted to play with himself and look at our bodies and take our shirts off. And I just looked at the other girl and we kind of just had this thing where we were just like frozen like this. And we just kind of just did what he said. And he was touching us kind of aggressively. And it turned into an assault between her and I. And that was just ended. It just ended after that pretty quickly, and we just kind of ran out of there.
When he first turns over, and any questions you don't want to answer here, you don't have to answer. We can get off this. And like you realize this is taking a very, very dark turn. You said you looked at the other girl, like did time stop and did you freeze it all? Or was it you went into some form of like autopilot, like just get through this?
Well, in hindsight, she knew him. And obviously, since she got her visa through him, she probably has done these massages before. Right. So it was a thing where I was looking at her and she kind of held my hand in a way of like, don't leave. Like if I was like to turn and run out of there, she was like holding my hand too and like helping me just like to get through it. And so I just kind of looked at her and just relied on her just to, you know, massage this dude and get out of there. but his demeanor changed. He wasn't like this friendly, mentory type person anymore. Now he was a little dark, and he just like kind of got off on us young girls, you know? So it was kind of like that nasty grin he had, that sinister little grin he had, of just trying to just get off and do what he was literally getting off. So we just had to just deal with it until like he was done, and then we just literally ran out of there.
Did he look you in the eyes at all?
Mm-hmm.
What did you see when you make eye contact with him?
Well, I know that look with him, so it was definitely a dark look. He was definitely, it wasn't the same person as before. It's definitely a shift in his personality.
Form of ownership kind of thing?
Yeah, and a form of like getting off on your fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of these accounts from victims.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Getting off on your fear.
Yeah, I could think of an email that reminds me of that.
Yeah, right. Talk about it, man. What email are you talking about?
The one where it was like, hey, so I spoke with that girl and she said or it wasn't even that. It was the one girl mentioning her friend who's like a documentarian, and she works on like all sorts of stuff. She's the philanthropist.
Right.
And he's like, oh, I know her. I met her. She told me that she's working on a investigation about a guy who eats and traffics children. Then I looked her dead in the eyes and told her that was me, and she nearly passed out.
Yes, he enjoyed that, clearly. Enjoyed that shock value. Enjoyed seeing fear in people's eyes, which seems to be a thing with sociopaths.
Right? It's like that part in the movie where like they escape the house and they're running down the road and they get picked up, and you just to find out that it's the fucking guy they just escaped. You know?
Right. Okay. So she goes to the island under these really cool, opportunistic intentions, right? She's going to go out there. She's going to meet this really smart guy. She's going to have these new opportunities at modeling and advancing her career. And she gets out there and the guy rapes her.
Diddy's people did this too. Like, what they would do is they would bring you out, like, let's say you were at a club that a bunch of him and his friends are at. Someone from the entourage will come and ask you to, like, hey, do you want to hang out and party for the weekend? And you don't have any clothes. You're at a nightclub. Like, you don't bring an overnight bag, let alone a suitcase for a week's worth of stuff. So they wound up talking to this one girl, pitching to her that she's going to be in a music video and blah, blah, blah. She's going to meet all these rappers and so on and so forth. And this is under the auspices of her going in to be an artist as well. So like she can sing and stuff. So like they kind of like brought her in there, and then similar to Blink Twice, like she gets out there and then just like she didn't have anything, right? So she's having to constantly wait for them to bring her clothes, new underwear and stuff. I think she said she was there for about a week with the same clothes. And so they keep you there with no money. They brought her from, I think it was Chicago, all the way out to L.A., where she didn't have any people in L.A. She didn't have any money. There was also the Sultan angle, where there was a very, very rich person from the Middle East within his entourage that was doing like all of the swaying and getting her to come. And eventually it turned into like pressuring her into sleeping with multiple people in order to get the contract she wanted. And I don't think she did it. I think she left. But it just shows like what they do is they try to get you away from all your comforts, you know, with something cool and grandiose like this girl did. They got her to the island or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's just slowly trying to bring down your guard and bring down your wall, while also placing them in the absolute best place for manipulation. You know, it's just disgusting, man. But it's funny because P. Diddy was brought up a lot with this, but there's no action being taken to actually like prove it. But you can see through ways in how they both acted and how they both treated women and the parties and the islands. Like that white party wasn't only at P. Diddy's house. He had it in different countries. A few of them. I think there was one in like 2013 that was on an island next to Necker Island, which is Richard Branson's, which isn't too far from Epstein's.
Right. Now, is there any truth to this? Have you heard this, that Jay-Z moved to some island outside of U.S.
I'm not sure how true that is, but I heard the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Okay, so I know you you hopped in a little late. I'm going, and most folks do, so I'm going to play some of the recent Epstein developments that I put together that have just happened in just these last few days. So check this out.
Swarming Jeffrey Epstein's notorious New Mexico ranch after an email in the Epstein files claims 2 foreign girls were strangled to death during rough fetish sex. And Epstein ordered the bodies to be buried on the ranch. Like a lot of things in the Epstein files, that report is unconfirmed, but authorities are now searching the property, thousands of acres. The ranch has been a dark mystery for years, and people are finally talking. A New Mexico state rep told the Daily Mail this, quote, "We have people coming forward saying they were drugged, had sex organs and sperm harvested from their bodies, and woke up around medical equipment, not knowing where they were or what happened to them."
That sounds like a fucking alien abduction.
Yep, my lab, dude. Sounds just like a my lab. Juliet Bryant, who she's in the files. She's in the emails. She's in all this stuff. She's a not only a victim who's been out and vocal for a long time. She's just been proven true that she was a part of the whole thing and didn't want to be a part of the whole thing and was manipulated. And that was one of her stories. Was she woke up on what looked to be like an operating room with people working on her while she was drugged. So, also
they're doing this at Zorro Ranch.
Did you see the photograph of the operation that was being done on somebody on the floor, where like had like 2 girls straddling somebody and somebody operating on somebody's mouth?
No.
Wearing the same exact pants. So like Juliet Bryant brought her own evidence up, like, cause she had photographs and stuff from her at the ranch and her at the island and things, and she's wearing the exact same pair of pants as the person that's getting operated on, but it's like an at-home operation. It looks like.
What were they doing to her mouth?
No idea. You can't even see the face because they've got like towels over the face. Like it's so weird because this guy also had like, I don't know where the operation had. It looked like it was in the Manhattan apartment, but he's got like dental chairs and stuff that could have easily been done on where it's sterile, not on the ground. You know, like but it's like somebody clearly being worked on the floor. And it's wearing the same pants that Juliet Bryant said that she woke up during some kind of weird operation. Man. And this is before the files came out. Then the files just came out, and there was this photo of an operation going on somebody on the floor wearing the same pants.
Sounds like fucking Mill Labs, and it's 40 miles away from Los Alamos National Labs. Weird.
Sandia, that the New Mexico authorities are going.
Sandia Labs coming forward also had a part in the telecommunications. That name is brought up over and over and over and over and over again. Sandia this, right. Sandia that, and that's all to do with his encrypted, basically the background of his operation. All the stuff that we know he did online was hidden by the encryption software.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, well, if you've got money like that and you're doing shady stuff, that's going to be a way to go. You know, use the one mode of communication that literally no one can tap into.
I was thinking about this too. Like, everyone was like, oh, well, they're in a submarine. You can't get submarine communications unless certain this, that, and the other. That's only if you're like a super secret class naval sub, right? Like, that's not civilian sub. You can say whatever the fuck you want. Your communications can get anywhere because you're not beholden to the government scrutiny for private information, right? So you don't have the classification shit. Yeah. So you can broadcast whatever the fuck you want out of your sub to anywhere you want it. And if it's coded like the rest of the language that they use in a lot of these things, you can say whatever you want. No one's going to be the wiser. So, because everyone was complaining to me, like my biggest folly with the whole communications thing on the island and stuff was like, oh, well, what's it used for? I would say, well, communications on the island, 2 other properties, and then 2 sub boats, whatever the fuck else he was doing. And they were like, well, subs don't get this, that, and the other. And yeah, maybe if that's a naval class nuclear sub that's super secret, they don't want it to know. But if you're just a normal person sub, you can go anywhere with a sub.
Commercial subs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Or
and you can
private owned.
Yeah, and you can customize them however you want. So yeah, I mean, until we see the schematics of that sub, we really don't know.
I haven't even found it, but I found his other boat. Like same company.
I have tried and tried.
The same company that built the sub sent him boat photos because around the same time he was commissioning them to repurpose a military sub. So they were going back and forth in paperwork. And then in one of the paperworks, I found them sending him photos of the boat itself. And then I found photos of the boat, but nothing from the sub, just talk.
No, I think the sub is either, or subs is either redacted or is in the other 3 million, 2.5 million some odd pages we haven't gotten for whatever reason. But yes, this is very strange. People coming forward saying they were drugged, had sex organs and sperm harvested from their bodies, and woke up around medical equipment not knowing what they were or where they were or what happened to them.
You know what I love about women? All the semen that they have. Gabriel, you know what I mean? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All the semen. Is this proof positive that there were men who were also abducted? Because we never
100%.
ever hear that legally, like within any of our officials saying any of that shit. Never any men, just a couple of women. That's it.
Men are too tough to get abducted.
Yeah, so that's real weird because his Oro Ranch is also old hat. That's his old property. The new property would be LSJ. So when did this occur? What witnesses were they obtaining the story from?
Yes.
And when? Because this is also the other thing. None of this shit was public, right? So if somebody was telling this story in 2005, I'm pretty sure it's true because we found enough evidence to prove like the peripheral data. Right. So for this person to have the peripheral, he would have had to been there in the first place, right?
Right. And this, I mean, it's just terrifying. Sex organs harvested. Sperm harvested. Yo, that is wild. I mean, absolutely crazy.
Unless you know what I'm
Tracy?
thinking.
Nice to see you.
Tracy, what's good? Just thinking about this now, right? Like, there was some of the women claim to be victimized like 3 times a day. I'm thinking that's a bit conservative for what we do know about this, right?
Yeah.
But that being said, maybe it's not men that sperm is being harvested from. Maybe it's like 3 hours after an encounter, they have something funny that they drank and then pass out. And then, because I'm thinking that would be good. Like, all right, a photograph is great, right? But now if you have DNA along with that, right? And now if you're getting that DNA verified by 23andMe,
well, let's see. If we're doing genetic engineering and longevity research, and we can pull out an entire uterus with a baby in it, that's going to give you some opportunities to test some things, I would think.
Yeah, but think of how many victims they must have had to burn a thing like that, right? Like, you would think the goal would be to have it be a reproducible thing, right? Like it wouldn't be one and done. Like that to me sounds fucking insane to do to someone in the first place, let alone if you're trying to get like, because this is the whole thing. It has to be a repeatable process over and over again for him to make money on. It can't be a one and done thing. So
they got to have trial runs.
Oh yeah, trial runs are one thing, but I would still think that I don't know. I don't know. I can't get my head around some of the facts to this stuff. Like the lack of empathy for human beings is what prevents me from believing some of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like
there's
to think
people that can be that calculated and cold.
Well, yeah, like even Fauci. Fauci's a piece of shit, but he like now I think it's starting to come out. The island of child carcasses that have been found connected to some of the Fauci labs. That's starting to get looked into now. But the beagles, we could just look at the beagles because that's been well talked about.
That picture, yeah, is rough
Poor,
to even look at.
Poor
that
dogs, right? But imagine after every test, and not just like the end of the trial, but like after every test, they're just like, all right, we're going to incinerate this whole group of dogs and start anew again.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense in the actual scientific side of this. It doesn't make sense on the money racketeering side. Like I don't know. I don't know.
It
just
makes sense to the Jeffrey Dahmer side that wants.
Yeah, though but that's where it also doesn't make sense for me. Is like just on the government's angle of their argument, right? Like clearly there's some of that going on. Why ignore it? Yeah. You know, why say there's none of that when you see a attitude being brought forth? You know, it's like my opinion on there must be a lot more bodies buried. Just because getting rid of the evidence would be a lot easier than having a witness walk around.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they find something out there at Zorro. They're looking, some would say almost a decade too late, but at least they're looking, right?
Did you see the photos? Like the updated photos yet? Like of what the property looks like?
Oh, with them digging out there?
Yeah, dude, that whole
yeah.
Huffines, before he even let the police out there, they tore up that whole Atlantis grass patch, that big square circular thing that kind of looks like.
Why would they do that?
Who knows, dude? Who knows, man? Because that could just be they wanted to wipe the symbolism off, right? But if you look how fucking deep they went, they were getting something else up there because grass only grows how deep, you know? And if it's well-maintained grass, it's only what, under 6 inches?
Right.
They went so deep, they went under all the soil that made the grass live, that they've now reached a sand pit.
Man. Your mind goes to so many places. Like, how evil was this fucker?
And why would you remove the evidence? Like, let's say you buy the place. Like I can't imagine. Like, all right, let's say I'm just a business guy. I don't like having evil places, but on the Bellevue psychiatric home that did all those terrible things to the patients, right, throughout the 1800s to the mid 50s, right?
Right.
Now let's say I buy that place and I didn't know anything about its past. And I go, no, I just got not a free hospital, but next to free hospital. I don't know why they gave it out so cheap, but hey, it was closed down and I'm going to benefit from it. So I go in there and I just start dragging shit out, right? Now I get to sub basement 3 and I start seeing vats and tanks of fucking people. And then I start seeing, like, I don't know, electroshock therapy equipment, you know, attached to fetuses. And I'm making this up. I'm not saying this is actually what happened there.
Sure.
But I'm saying I start coming across these type of things. Am I going to burn it and bury it and get rid of all this douchebag's evidence for him? Or am I just going to call authorities and give them everything?
Right? Expose that fucker.
Yeah, now we can say that didn't happen over at Zorro Ranch because that fucker needed to get questioned and subpoenaed by the government in order to do that. And this is with Trump's approval. Because he's a politician in Texas running for office and won. And he got approval from Trump. I would have told him, you're not getting a fucking thing until you let us search that property.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, the Trump involvement is real. To what degree, it's hard to say with a certain level of confidence. But to say there was no involvement is to say, like, there is no involvement with Clinton. Like, we know both of these guys were involved with Epstein at some capacity. And it doesn't look good. We'll just put it that. I mean, just from the video we have, it's not a good look.
Well, since we're on Trump, and there's been another bit of breaking news the past couple of days,
Mm-hmm.
and you are not on my side with this, mostly because you haven't looked into it. You've been on your own thing, and you've got a family and shit. I have a deficiency in important things I have to do throughout the day. You know, they all rely on me and only me, so I get to be a bit selfish from time to time. So I've really looked into the Erica Kirk stuff. Like I've been on it with what Candace has been saying, and like I'm pretty sure there's something fucking really weird going on there. And because I don't have enough of the legally binding information that would take to make some claims, I'm just going to say allegedly. Very strange. But she's a widow. She raised she was an at-home mother for a good portion, and before that she ran like a streetwear company kind of, and then before that she was doing kind of like propaganda films. You know, she did the Romanian Angels thing. She was a supermodel.
Okay.
Trump just brought her in now as a what is she? They're asking her on her opinion of the Iran war at the moment. Like that's where she is now. They're bringing her in as an advisor position to the Iran war. Why?
Because Charlie Kirk was Jesus. And she's like Mary Magdalene.
Yeah, I just don't believe that you through assassination can intrinsically take on I don't know, Messiah-like business roles. You know what I mean? Being able to do things like that, just on transition of life. I don't.
I am so ignorant to the whole thing because I never got on the Charlie Kirk bandwagon. I mean, God bless him, but
Same
I just
here.
never.
Same.
Yeah, it just never was a thing that I was actively
But being honest,
watching.
he was too mainstream for me, right? Like,
There you go.
I don't think that, like, because he would talk about MK Ultra, and everyone's like, he knew everything that he was talking about. Yeah, because he's talking about things 40 fucking years old that have already been proven.
Right.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Sticking with the facts, I love it. That means you're a super credible individual, and I can bounce shit off you all day long, right?
Sure.
But when you're being set up as some kind of prophet that can see the future, and you're not touching on any of the really weird shit that was going on, you know, like
are they really doing that with him?
What do you mean, like
trying to put him in that sort of position?
Well, no, that's what he put himself in. I think he had handlers because of his approximation to politics, you know, and the ability to sway votes and stuff. So he had his own clout, but this is how I see him. He was great at speaking. He was great at a bunch of different things, but his ability to say like what's going on, but his ability to stay within the purview of reality was like his greatest thing. His ability to stay like, I don't know, I kind of get worked up and I raise my voice and things when I start talking about the Epstein thing. He doesn't have that emotional irregularity. I do. When I start talking about things, when I start talking about shit like that, like I can't help but put myself in the victim's shoes. Yeah. He was able to override that and just relay his viewpoint. You know, I don't think he was a bad guy. I just saw him as kind of mainstream, a little too mainstream for me. I like a little bit more punchiness with my news.
I just thought it was interesting. I mean, the only thing of all of it that I thought was weird was, and the thing is, I can't even really say it's weird because people grieve in different ways. But the video Zoom meeting that she had with her employees, like literally, I think it was within a day of his death. You know, I mean, she's laughing, she's smiling, she's
talking about the
cracking
merch
jokes.
sales.
Yeah, and it was just like, you know, hey, look, you were trying to be, maybe it was just you trying to be strong for the employees and whatnot, but it just gave out weird vibes, like you weren't really that upset.
Well, also the death tent. The death tent, bud. What the fuck was up with the death tent? You know, like you're gonna do an event, right? And then you're like, no, we're gonna pull out the assassination stage, and we're gonna let you take selfies by it. I don't know who would want to take selfies on that stage because I wouldn't go 10 feet near it.
Stage to fireworks and shit. It was just so weird. Okay, let's get on to a couple more updates here. So this.
I don't think I finished my thought with the
sir.
Erica Kirk thing. Yeah, because I got way late on.
I interrupted you. My bad.
No worries. I didn't want to come off like a crazy person. I just wanted to finish my thoughts. So the issue with that is like he was very mainstream, but he had people's ear. Right, he started to question what was going on with the conflict in Gaza and the fact that it was pretty much flattened. He didn't like that, and he started speaking up. So things behind the scenes went on. It's just very strange to me how, like, I don't know, the right wing, we can say, was very much against a DEI hire, right? Like you had to have the gravitas, you had to have the resume, which makes sense in the business world. You need to have done the job before and done it well and have a track record of doing it well in order to get that job or better in the future. That's how companies run. How is she, as just a widow, able to now take the reins of that whole company? You know, with millions and millions and millions on the line of donation dollars. You don't do that unless you are 100% confident that she has been trained for however long to handle a role like that. And every politician is trained. Folks, if you don't think that they're given a laundry list of rules to follow on how to even conduct themselves on a stage, you're crazy. Trump ignored half of those, but he still has to take all those classes. He still has to know how to address people as a political figure. So how does she take those reins? And like the amount of people that are under that umbrella, like I don't know, like we go to Mr. Deeds, right? You find out that some big giant company wants to take you on because of a relative of yours. You have no place in the business. All he is a relative of yours, but you're getting it through inheritance, right? Like in the back of my head, I'm going, well, I have like 500,000 employees now that are beholden to any fuck up I make. Maybe not take this position. Let me go and do I don't know, a bit of research and find out who would do the job better so that 500,000 people aren't on the line. For her to just take that reign and be like, no, I'm good, cool, fuck all these people. If I fuck this up royally, too bad. You know, it's a learning experience. Even though what
that is? That's right on cue with the times, buddy.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, we got a president that was a reality star, so.
Yeah, I can't agree. I can't argue with that. Yeah. Like I also didn't like him through any of that. He, like, as a punk rock, like graffiti vandal kid growing up in the hard knock streets of New York, I couldn't get behind the whole fucking super cool businessman.
Yeah, they were trying to make yuppies look cool.
Yeah, he was a yuppie always, in my opinion. I don't know. I grew up on dead Kennedys and shit to where. I don't know. I'm not accepting any of that fucking nonsense.
No, it's ridiculous. All of it is ridiculous.
Sex organs and sperm harvested from their bodies and woke up around medical equipment, not knowing where they were or what happened to them. I'm glad.
Again, sounds like fucking my lab. Mill lab, excuse me.
Glad that the New Mexico authorities are going there and searching that property. I know that if no one searches the property, whenever this investigation is finally concluded, people are always going to have questions about whether or not there were deaths there, whether or not there were mysterious surgeries and things like that happening on the ranch. I don't know, but I do know this. The federal
mysterious surgeries.
Ranch has been a dark mystery conducting for years, investigations and people are finally talking. A New Mexico state rep told the Daily Mail this.
Did I go back again?
There were deaths there, whether or not there were mysterious surgeries and things like that happening on the ranch. I don't know, but I do know this. The federal government
Wait, did he just say there were deaths there? He doesn't know about the surgeries, but he knows there were deaths there. Is that what he said?
Mysterious deaths from that email that came out that said Maxwell and Epstein had strangled two girls when they were playing too hard in S&M or something. And they
Yeah,
buried
but
him out at
that
the
was a
ranch.
definitive. He made a definitive there. He could have just lumped that in.
Yeah,
Because
sounded like it.
it's just words. It's just words. Like
Yep.
we were saying earlier, it's just words. Unless
Yep.
we can find more proof, it's something to triangulate with. That means they have something to triangulate that with. Like they
Or
have
they have a good
bodies,
idea.
or they have missing persons, or they have something to say that is not just nothing. Yeah, clearly they're investigating, so they do have more. But you have
And
to
they
look
have
at little
access
statements like that.
to not all unredacted, but more unredacted stuff than we do. But we found out that even when they go to their area where it's supposed to be unredacted, they're pulling up some of these files and they're still fucking redacted.
The EFTA IOU sheets for the
exactly.
evidence itself, where it's like
Exactly.
IOU,
Field
one
IOU.
piece of evidence.
We'll get you back. We'll get you back. Crazy, man.
Their investigation, I believe, back in 2019 of that ranch. So there's just so many questions about how the government failed.
New fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein files. Hyatt chairman Tom Pritzker is retiring as executive chairman over his ties to the late sex offender. His departure is effective immediately, and he also says he will not seek re-election to the company's board during elections set for this May. In a statement, Pritzker said he, quote, exercised terrible judgment in continuing to associate with both Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
You think?
All right, we'll see. Gentlemen, I have to leave it there because we have some breaking news that we just got in. So, William, Bill, thank you so much.
It's a news program. I'm okay.
Again, I appreciate it. All right, we are following, again, breaking news on Capitol Hill, where the House Oversight Committee just voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi. Joining us, MS Now congressional reporter Mike.
A New Mexico state rep.
Shit.
Attorney General Pam Bondi. Something that's so striking about this is it was a bipartisan vote, and it wasn't even close. There were actually 5 Republicans who voted in favor of this.
Now, something interesting to note here is that Comer is the head of this oversight committee. And Comer told the other Republicans, don't vote to have Pam Bondi come on. And 5 Republicans voted with the Democrats to subpoena Pam Bondi.
She's the linchpin, bud. She's the linchpin because she was there. She was in Florida at the time of the major like buck ups. Like
and William Barr.
Yeah, she is right there. So whether she wanted to know things or not, she knows shit.
Yep. Just like Will Barr. And so Bill Barr came and said, stop investigating Zorro Ranch. Stop looking out there. That's suspect.
Subpoena. It was Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, Scott Perry, Tim Burchett, and Michael Cloud. Again, 24-19, which means that in the near future, we could see Attorney General Pam Bondi testify once again.
We have something that we want to talk about that came out from the newly released Jeffrey Epstein files that will
Now, this is interesting because remember we talked about the guards?
Yeah.
And the death. So some new stuff has come out about the guards. Check this out.
Probably add more fuel to this discussion because it turns out one of Epstein's guards allegedly Googled him right before his dead body was found. And there's also what's being characterized as these kind of like weird money transfers days before his death too. There was a forensic examination conducted on the desktop computers that were apparently used by the correctional officers that were supposed to be watching him, Tova Noel and Michael Thomas. They were assigned to Epstein's unit. And there is a 5-page handwritten note of an interview with this inmate who claims that on the morning of August 10th, 2019, he hears officers shouting at 6:30 a.m., so again, that's the reported time when Epstein's body was found, breathe, breathe, he recalled officers shouting. And then he allegedly hears an officer say, and this is what you can read from the handwritten note, this is the best way that it's deciphered, dudes, you killed that dude. And then he claims that a female guard replied, if he's dead, we're going to cover it up and he's going to have an alibi.
Dudes, you killed that dude.
I just sent you a post. My friend, she sent it to me, I think like yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
But it goes on
what the FBI has for Epstein on his current whereabouts in 2023.
Okay. Let's see here. Let me get it pulled up.
It's on the tweeter.
Got it. Okay, so dudes, you killed him. We're going to cover this up. So that, to me, makes it more confusing. Because, like, when I think of the guards being involved, here's what I think. Like, and I could be completely wrong. But here's what I think. Here's some cash to turn your head at these times so we can get rid of this sick pedophile. You're helping the world, and we're going to pay you for it. And that's what they did. But then when I hear something like this, it actually implicates one of the guards in the actual murder. So now I'm all spun up. Like, I don't know which way to think.
Look at what I sent you. Check the back channels.
Yes, I just got it. Hold on one second here. Just got to pull it. Epstein does live in Colorado, so he is 2 hours behind, though he has jumped on calls as early as 9 a.m. Eastern time in the past. That was July 21st. And here are, I guess,
submarine numbers. And then this is
submarine numbers.
These right here are correspondence between interagency correspondence after Epstein's death, quote unquote.
Okay. I have a debrief schedule for Thursday. Friday, I am on Arizona time through next week, so morning is same as you all. Thursday, Epstein does live in Colorado, so he is 2 hours behind. Though he has jumped on calls, okay, in the past. My only other thing Thursday is a debrief at 2 p.m. PST. So what is this?
Look at the date.
Saying they had a July 6th, and they had a meeting with Epstein. Is that what this is saying?
Yeah, but it's 2021. He died in 2020, remember?
Okay, Dave.
Yeah, this is like witness protection correspondence between the agents that are still getting his testimony.
Meaning what? I'm confused.
Oh, that he's still alive in 2021, and they're talking about a meeting with him.
Tuesday, July 6th, 21. I know you've got a lot going on this week. I spoke with Blank, and he has no problem with our team debriefing Epstein regarding the Shats. The fuck is the Shats?
You know what the Shats are, dude. If you've had too much Taco Bell, you have been introduced to the Shats.
Do you
past
have
tense,
his
but
counsel's contact, and would you be able to dial into a debrief at any time this time week for presented the report? Okay, but I mean, this is like, so that would be like saying that the government is covering up his death, or covering up his life and saying he's dead.
That's what witness protection is, right? They let
why
the world
would they
believe you're
protect
dead.
him?
If he's, do you think that Epstein isn't singing like a fucking canary behind the scenes? He said he said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th in the depositions, right? But behind the scenes, I don't think this man is courageous. He's a fucking coward.
No. Yeah, absolutely. He's a coward. That's why he picks on children. But I just don't. I think I don't know. I could be wrong, dude. Obviously,
It's
I've
just
been wrong
another
about so much, but it is
just
interesting.
another plink in the bucket for weird shit going on with his death.
Really helpful if we could see who this was from and to, and do we know, does Epstein have any relatives? Could this be referring to a relative?
He's got Mark, but Mark is not over there. Mark lived in Manhattan, from what I can tell. Remember, he was the one who owned some of the real estate with Epstein.
Yeah.
And I believe he was renting some of the apartments out to the victims.
Very interesting. Yeah, and I was searching on Gmail Zorro Ranch earlier, and you can see just all of these, email after email after email of Zorro Ranch, a total of 3,017 emails regarding Zorro Ranch, folks.
And that's assuming that there wasn't even more emails with some kind of like shorthand for it. Like you have Little St. James, you have LSJ, you have The Island. So that's at least 3 names that if you check one, the other 2 names aren't going to pop up. And that's just for The Island. So I wonder what that one was called. Because he has YSH is another property that he refers to, but I don't even know what the hell that one means.
And folks, it can get overwhelming looking at all this. And one thing that I've kind of keyed into is every time you see these numbers over here are the numbers of requests of the government to unredact. So kind of the way I've personally prioritized it is that if one of these numbers is high, then I usually take a peek at that first. So like here we have 27 requests to clarify what was going on here. And it looks like a normal kind of email, but there just always seems to be something like this has an order in it. It's just very strange. And without the parts redacted, it's really hard to make sense out of a lot of it. And that's like by design, right?
Yeah, you also just have to look at it through the lens of like, these are extremely well-off, rich-ass people who don't do things for themselves. So when they're doing little menial tasks, like when you see Epstein ordering a piece of furniture, there would be no reason in the world for him to ever have to do that himself. He's got 15 assistants at 15 different properties that could all do that. So that he, so that's what I look into too, is like the higher up of the person in the chain of command, which Epstein, we assume, is top. We know that there's probably more higher up than him, but we assume Epstein's the top, right? So when he's dealing with shit that you would expect, like a house manager who's not even that high up in the organization to be handling, yet Epstein's doing that shit himself, it's real weird.
Yeah. MC, I just got your Christmas card as a lovely drawing of Eleanor.
It's Fast and the Furious car.
Just so much craziness. All right, brother. Well, before we close her down, was there anything else you wanted to make sure we hit on this one?
No, I think we crushed it, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm waiting now to see if anyone in the audience has an issue or anything they would like to add to the research that we've now done. Because, I would like to move on to more things. Like we're just touching on some little subjects here and there that pique interest.
I'll tell you, yeah, this is one that really piques my interest here. When I re-edited the Clinton highlight deposition, I put in about 5 to 10 minutes of Alex Acosta at the beginning because he stands on this stage and gives a press briefing talking about how this was the best deal they could put forward, how Palm Beach was going to let Epstein go without facing any jail time. And he had to do this deal to make sure he faced some kinds of consequence for his actions. But then you also have Alex Acosta quoted as saying, "I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone."
Oh, man.
So
all right.
Which is
This-
it, Mr. Acosta?
Both. It's both. They both of them, and both of them make 100% sense. To me, anyway. But that book that I sent you, the Franklin cover-up, I'm so glad that we're covering this because I think that's what we should do next.
Yeah.
Because it's a nice side. It'll be a little bit of homework so that people can get it in their head. Like these practices aren't new. They're tried and true, and it starts out in political circles. That blackmail thing is the reason for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that leverage over someone else, their darkest secret in the palm of your hands, being able to control somebody.
Yeah, plus it's a lot cheaper than a bribe. Like a bribe, you're paying somebody to do something they know is wrong. But if you can get something to do that thing wrong and then not have to pay them to then be in your servitude, that's the cheapest route.
Absolutely.
But I think that should be the next one we dig into. And it's like, so I sent you that book. If you read the first 50 pages, which it's not that hard actually. It's pretty easy because it's a lot of I guess witness testimony and stuff. So it's like annotated bits along the page. So you'll have big swaths of paragraphs that aren't too heavy. But it goes into how it started in the 80s with the Franklin Credit Union, and then how it went into philanthropy, because these were also politicians who were claiming that they're helping out with foundations, and it turns out that foundation after foundation was rife with predators, like doing really bad things to children, and then being covered up from like the highest points in authority.
And you know what's really frustrating for me is that I think we're doing a good job exposing a lot of this and bringing a lot of this to light. So hopefully in the future, people see these red flags and they understand. But like right now, this is going on right now with somebody completely different that we've never heard of. At least a couple of them. Right? We know that just based on numbers and statistics. Like this is happening right now. This is destroying lives as we speak. It might not be Epstein. It might be some other name we learn down the road. But we have got to get our shit together and start identifying these sick bastards that think children are sex objects. What the fuck?
Like this is the thing too. If they're willing to do that, why do you think they're going to do anything good ever anywhere else?
Ever? Yeah, they can all go to hell. But yes, Alex Acosta, William Barr, and now Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Mr. Bongino. I got questions for all you fuckers.
Yep. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. And on that happy note, thanks for joining us again, y'all. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Tracy, we see you. Fletcher, we see you. Mr. I can't even read that. Mr. Bob the Cat thing. I love it. We see you all. Thank you for hanging out, and hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you got something about it. Spread the word. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Fuck all of these people trying to help Epstein. Fuck him. You can say that. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful night. Thanks for hanging out.
Peace.
Peace out.